Does Liz know we're live right now? All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Pinfall podcast. Your host is currently a little busy right now, so we're just gonna be on me for a little bit.
I'm back. I put my headphones in, like my other headphones.
Okay.
I don't know. It's weird. It was like, it's literally like I get 3 seconds into you talking, and then it goes away.
Uh-huh.
So
It might be. I don't know. I don't know what it could be, but
Discord doesn't like AirPods. That's what it is.
and the TLC logo is gone. So.
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is.
Is it because your phone's connected to them too?
I have to turn Bluetooth off on my phone now because my phone will automatically connect to my headphones.
This is why we don't use AirPods.
No, I literally walked in here before saying I'm good to go. And I was like, gotta turn the Bluetooth off of my phone if I'm going to be tweeting. Never a dull fucking moment.
Welcome everyone to the Pinfall podcast. This is a wrestling podcast, in case you didn't know.
This is a Bluetooth troubleshooting podcast, actually.
And because the logo is not showing up for some goddamn reason, this is the post TLC podcast, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. Hell yeah, pay-per-view. We did predictions. We didn't do them on the podcast because we've been out of internet for since Thursday, so we didn't have a SmackDown podcast. We couldn't even watch SmackDown. And we had to postpone the Mike Romies. So that's going to be happening January 2nd, first of all. Liz will get more into that once we get there. But our predictions, if you're new to the podcast, we do predictions for every pay-per-view, for every match, except we didn't do one match this time because it was a very chaotic pre-show that was announced like immediately before. And the rules are, if you get a prediction wrong, you have to drink 1 can of hard seltzer before the end of the podcast. And so one incorrect one is 1 can, and so on. And if you get one right, you get a point, and whoever has the most points at the end of the show is our winner and our reigning pay-per-view or reigning Pinfall podcast pay-per-view prediction champion. Now,
Can I start with a little diatribe before we really launch into this?
Sure, I guess.
So yeah, we're at the clutches of fucking the most wonderful internet provider in the world, Verizon, and we've been out of internet since Thursday at 7 p.m.
6 p.m.
We got it back today, I think about 3 p.m. 5 minutes after Mark and I decided that we were going to drive up to his family's house instead. So it would have seen a different setting if it had not come back like a couple hours. If it came back a couple hours later, it would have been a different place, and potentially not even a podcast at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back. We will be back obviously tomorrow, unless God steps in somehow. Fucking knock on wood on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mike Romies will be rescheduled for January 2nd. It is my baby, and I'm very pissed off that I didn't get to fucking do them.
They're the greatest wrestling awards show on the planet.
Literally the best one that you're ever gonna find, and we brainstormed topics for at least 3 hours.
Maybe less.
Take that how you will. Potentially less. We got really tired after a certain point. But we've been planning that for basically since 2 months into fucking doing this podcast, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I just decided I was going to do it, and Now here we are, and we're going to fucking do it. So January 2nd, come meet us after you're hungover and miserable. And we'll be here to enlighten you with some fun opinions.
Now, onto today's pay-per-view. So, while Liz powders her face, I had 4 correct predictions. I did a bonus. We both did one bonus prediction. I did an extra one. But we'll get to that once we get to the matches and promos. But I have to do not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 cans of seltzer before the night is over. Now, Liz, I also got 4 correct predictions. Now, Liz, let everyone know how you did.
Tonight, I have to drink 1 drink. Because I'm a fucking star. I also have another beer and another drink because I know who I am as a person, but this is my only obligatory one. So, I'll just be sitting here.
Yep.
I feel pretty fucking good about myself right now. I'm going to be real honest with you. I think, honestly, it's doing the predictions on the podcast. I think doing them during podcast episodes, it fucks me up. I'm like under the gun, so I'm just like, I don't know, maybe this sounds good.
That's why I gotta get you next time.
Yeah.
But Liz is the big winner, so she is our currently running pay-per-view Pinfall Podcast pay-per-view prediction champion for the second time or second month in a row, and also second time. And you have to give me a punishment before the end of the podcast. So
yes, I think we decided on 1 punishment going into the podcast, which I'm very excited about. Some people might not be, actually, which is weird. But should I say that now or should I wait for?
I mean, don't leave everyone hanging.
So in addition to whatever else I decide to brew up for Marcus, which I think will be fun, Mark and I had a little chat. We decided that the winner, well, for Mark it would be, I would have to buy him a piece of merch, and if it were me that won, Mark has to buy me the Sami Zayn Intercontinental Championship.
Even though I literally said, if I win, you buy me a piece of his merch. But if you win, you buy yourself a piece of merch. I had never mentioned me buying you anything.
Yeah, and then I decided it'd be more fun if you bought me something.
Yeah, you decided a lot.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to have my shirt.
Mm-hmm. So, are you going to say the other punishment now or wait?
Yeah, I mean, I can do it now. I think that we should do it. I'll do it now so that you have time to mull it over.
Okay.
What I want you to do is something. I'm bringing back something that we did the old days of the podcast.
Okay.
It's a bit of a challenge for you.
Oh, no.
I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock.
Oh, no.
It's not right now. You've got time to think about this. 30 seconds on the clock. You have to draw me your favorite WWE wrestler. And if I guess it, you win. You don't win anything, but you win. And if I guess wrong, I will add a drink to my total.
Wait, so I just have to draw nonsense and... Okay, perfect. I can just draw nonsense and you add a drink to your... Perfect.
No.
Awesome.
You have to make a concerted effort to actually have me guess it.
Wait, so...
Here, how about this? If I guess wrong, we both add a drink to our total. How's that? Mutually assured destruction, sweetheart.
If that's at the end of the podcast, we're basically just chugging it at that point.
Well.
Sounds awful. There's not even any seltzers left. Yeah. Actually, there's one left.
Don't lose.
You could just do that now.
You can do it halfway through if you want, so you're not chugging.
Okay. All right, so now that we've gone over the predictions, do you want to get into the meat of this pay-per-view? Oh boy, was
Yes,
this a hell of a pay-per-view?
This was a pretty decent pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I've got to say.
A ridiculous-ass ending, but yeah.
Yeah, for the ending, I don't know about that one. It was that very much felt like in Raw when they're like, fuck, we've got 2 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho. Let's start with the match that I didn't realize why we were fucking starting with this. Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles.
Wait, you're gonna skip over the kickoff? The pre-show?
Oh, God. If you watched Tribute to the Troops, you already fucking saw the kickoff, just minus Jeff Hardy. It was an 8-man tag with Daniel Bryan, Big E, Chad Gable, and Otis versus Corbin, Sami,
Cesaro and Shinsuke.
Cesaro, and Shinsuke. And Team Face won. I don't know why we did this.
As I've said already, prior to the podcast, it's a way to get through several different storylines in one match without putting any effort into it at all.
True. And something that we didn't get to comment on Friday because we weren't watching. And mind you, I did not take notes on this because pay-per-views are already long enough. Podcasts with pay-per-views are already long enough. Taking notes on an 8-man tag match makes my fucking head spin, and I didn't feel like doing it tonight, so. But Otis is, that's a different man.
He's looking good.
I don't recognize that man.
Chat. I will say this match is actually really nice. You had Daniel Bryan looking good. Otis looked great. Chad looked great. Big E looked like Big E. Corbin looked alright. Cesaro looked fantastic. Shinsuke looked pretty decent. And Sami looked like Sami.
Yeah. Otis is just like, Otis is looking mean. It was not like the sweet, lovable little Otis that we once had.
Mm-hmm.
He put that singlet on, he suddenly became a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah, you cover up the nips.
Like in a good way. You gotta cover the nips. Also, I did like that Chad was like, don't fucking do the caterpillar.
Yeah, and then it kind of fucked him over.
True. I liked it. But yeah, I think that we had a really good match here. It would have been nice if we had gone into this after watching SmackDown, but...
C'est la vie.
If we're going to miss any single night of wrestling, may as well be SmackDown.
Yeah.
I do feel bad, though, going into this, because like we're not doing the Christmas episode.
Look, I'm not doing the podcast on Christmas. I'm going to be too preoccupied.
Yeah. I'll be at my sister's house, so I don't think that'll work out very well. We will be back again. But would you like to jump into Drew, AJ?
I would, because this was a hell of a match. And
some might even say a haluva match.
And those people would be wrong.
It was weird to start on this, in my opinion.
It was, especially with what happened towards the end.
It was a good match. Drew came out with gauntlets on. For some reason, that was new. It was a new little piece of accessorizing for him.
He's had them on before, like multiple times, but he's been so quick to take them off. Before now.
Usually I'm just staring at those titties, at the meats. So AJ immediately goes for Drew's knee. Drew slams AJ's spine first into the mat. And he's fucking mad. Drew McIntyre's a pissed off little man right now. He launches AJ across the ring. Drew then slaps AJ and whips him into the corner. All the while keeping a nice watchful eye on Omos. AJ gets a nice little throat chop into Drew. And there's just the most effortless fucking back body drop to AJ. Drew just picked that tiny man up and just said, and yeet. Like a fucking bag of trash.
Mm-hmm.
Drew then... AJ goes up to, like, the top rope, and Drew slaps him all the way back fucking home to North Carolina. I've never seen a man fall so hard from a fucking slap.
Yeah. Looked like the
Sweet Summer Child went down.
Looks like the most painful slap in all of wrestling.
Drew then sets up a table like a fucking buffoon. He tries to send AJ through it without luck. He then sends AJ rib first into the wall. Drew tells Omos to back the fuck off.
Also, we should say that we both got this prediction correct.
Yes, we did.
We both picked Drew McIntyre.
There's a fuzzy in my hair that's driving me up the fucking wall. Anywho. So then, just get that the fuck out before I go insane. Drew then throws AJ through some chairs that are set up on a table. He drops AJ head first onto the barricade and then loads a ladder into the ring. AJ sees Drew going up top. Hits him in the back of the fucking left knee with a chair. Get some more chair shots, but AJ starts looking like he's about to cry from pain at that point. Like, he sets up a chair in the corner, and he's just, like, wincing the whole time. And I was like, oh, sweet boy.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to throw Drew into it, but it fails. Drew tries to catapult AJ into the ladder, but AJ just kind of jumps onto it like a little fucking cat. Doesn't work. AJ then throws a ladder at Drew's back. Or no. Was that? Was it a ladder or was it a chair?
A chair. Because he was at the top of the ladder. He just threw a chair.
True. AJ throws a chair at Drew's back. AJ then shoves Drew's spine first into the ladder and throws the ladder onto Drew. We then get a future shock DDT somehow. And then Andrew suplexes a ladder into AJ. Should be the opposite way around, but it's not. AJ gets a calf crusher on Andrew through the fucking ladder. I said, that seems horrible. Gets another calf crusher on him through a chair this time. Andrew then slams AJ's head into the fucking ladder. AJ shoves the ladder into Drew's head. AJ goes up to the top rope, and Drew just fucking tosses a chair in his face. And it is the funniest fucking angle because you just see AJ, almost, and suddenly Drew with a chair. And I was like, all right, sure. Why not? AJ then chop blocks Drew into a fucking ladder. There's a failed Irish whip into the table to AJ. AJ is suplexed into a ladder. There's some phenomenal forearms to Drew. Almost helps by loading a ladder in. AJ goes up, and Drew grabs him and launches him out of the ring through a table. And then The Miz comes in. The Miz turns a match that could have just been him against whoever the fuck won into a triple threat, where his odds of winning went from 50% to 33%. That's not logical.
I just want to say, my bonus prediction would be that The Miz would cash in and win the title. But he picked literally the worst time to cash in. He could have cashed it in right as soon as somebody won. He could either be fighting a broken AJ or a broken Drew. Either way, easy competition for him. But no, he's a fucking moron.
Correct.
And then he cashes in and just sits at the bottom of the ladder just staring up for 5 whole minutes. He could have rushed up that ladder and grabbed it, but no, he is a fucking moron.
I agree.
Correct.
Miz sends Drew through the table, starts climbing, and almost gets the fuck in and says, no. Takes him, carries him like a little baby out of the fucking ring, throws him through a fucking table. Or Miz just fucking lays there.
Didn't even throw him. Dropped him.
John then hits Omos in the back with a chair. And the chair breaks.
Snapped in half.
And Omos just stands there like, alright, sure. He then stalks John out of the fucking arena. Drew gets up. AJ gets up. They're climbing up the fucking ladder. Drew beats AJ down. Miz sets up a ladder next to their ladder. Beats Drew down. AJ and Miz are going at it. Andrew then pushes the Miz and AJ off the ladders. He claymores the now broken Miz. Gets to the fucking top. Gets his fucking belt. I sat back and I said, thank God, where's this going now? Also, people are starting to Roman Reigns him, which I don't really appreciate.
Roman Reigns who?
So people are starting to Roman Reigns Drew. Which is like really fucking annoying because they're like, people don't actually like him. And I was like, huh.
So kind of
I
like
guess I'm not people.
John Cena as well.
Yeah. It's because he's doing too well. He's too good.
Well, to be fair, people hated Roman for a reason. And it's because his gimmick was shitty, his gear was shitty, his moves were shitty.
Which I don't think that's the case for Drew.
It's not. Drew's got a great moveset, a great gimmick. I mean, his gimmick's starting to get a little corny with the kilt and the sword and everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
I like Drew. I like just regular old fucking Drew.
This might sound a bit, you might disagree with this, but I think the peak of Drew's title run this year was when Dolph was challenging him. I think that's when we really got to the core of who Drew is as a person and the characters surrounding that storyline. And when he brought Heath in, that was perfect.
That was like a fucking knife to the goddamn heart.
Yeah.
God.
You won't get anything like that from anyone in WWE ever again.
Especially because that was like a real fucking mercy killing right there because... not even just in like the sense of what the promo was, but because Heath had straight up, like Heath was not part of WWE. That was like a week before Heath debuted at Impact.
Yeah. So,
I mean, for Vince to be like, hey, you left me, but I will bring you back for this one fucking thing and that is it. It's got to say a lot.
To be fair, he was let go. He did not leave.
Fair. But I mean, like, you're not going to like, if Carl and like, Gallows suddenly like, hey, can we come back just to like do like a little thing with AJ, or like if AJ were to like ask for them to come back just for like a promo, I don't see that happening right now.
Yeah.
I mean, also with Talk and Shop Mania, maybe not. So,
but yeah, I mean, it was also the best motivation of anyone going for the title in Drew's run because you had Bobby, who was going for it because MVP told him to. You had Randy, who wanted it because he wanted another title. You have AJ, who's going for it just because he was thrown into a gauntlet. But you had Dolph, who went for it because he felt like Drew owed him something. Because Drew wouldn't be in his position if it wasn't for Dolph.
What was Seth's motivation?
We didn't start watching that time. I think Seth just wanted the title. We started watching Raw like the episode before Money in the Bank.
Oh, we started watching Raw literally the day after WrestleMania. The first thing that we saw was Drew and Big Show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like digging into that.
Yeah.
Anywho. Want to move on?
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about promos?
Yeah, because we have a promo of the night.
Okay, well, we've got a promo here.
Yeah. We had a little Paul Heyman interview where Kayla's talking to him Don't really know what was asked. Kayla asked him a question. He kind of just went off. Also, my chair is automatically spinning. I can't control myself. I don't know what was asked. Really don't. But Paul was condescending towards Kayla. That's all you got to know. Nothing special.
Paul basically said, and I quote, "I like watching NASCAR because of the car crashes."
As in, Roman's gonna fucking kill Kevin.
Right. He said, "That's the kind of guy I am." And I said, "All right, Paul, sure. That's why people watch hockey."
But we now have to move into the SmackDown Women's Championship match. A match that was, in my opinion, better than I expected, but probably the worst match we had today. Carmella versus Sasha Banks. Why did I say Carmella won?
I don't know.
Carmella did not win. Sasha won. We both picked Sasha to win and retain.
Yeah.
Which she did. So yay us. I guess we're through these.
In my humble opinion, I thought this match was trash.
I didn't think it was trash because Carmella did look pretty good. She had some great moves, and Sasha's always great, but I just think the match itself was a little underwhelming.
I just cannot stand the screaming.
Oh yeah, no, Carmella's annoying as shit.
Yeah, I also cannot stand Corey Graves talking about her. My dude may as well have his dick in his fucking hand when he was talking about her. Oh my god. It's like, we get it, Corey. You're dating her.
Yeah.
You paid for the lip fillers, and now it's getting some fucking return on your investment. Congrats.
Also, the Somalian is really annoying. Like, I cannot stand the Somalian. And for those who think I am just being racist and don't watch our podcast regularly, is a sommelier. But everyone on the show calls him a sommelier.
If you want to know his real name, it is Reginald Thomas. He used to be beaten up by Tim Tams on a weekly basis on NXT, and now he has decided to move up in his aspirations by being Carmella's bitch.
Yep. Her simp. Oh,
yeah.
We can't say that word on Twitch anymore. Fuck.
Her simp-melier.
Yeah. The Somali pirate.
Carmella immediately bops out of the ring when Sasha gets in. There's a punch to the back of Sasha. Sasha arm drags Carmella ringside. Carmella then shoves Sasha spine first into the stairs. And then we get a crotch right to the face of Sasha, which moves into a crossface. Sasha meteoras Carmella, and then Carmella sends Sasha right to the apron. Gets kicked in the face, but pulls Sasha neck first onto the apron. There's a neck breaker 3 separate times to Carmella. And then a frog splash onto Carmella. We get a face buster to Sasha. And 3 fucking covers with no fucking luck. Sasha drives Carmella into the buckle and then rolls through for a sunset flip. Rolls through a backslide as well. Still nothing. Carmella does get her cone of silence locked in on Sasha. That's a really cool fucking move. I really like it. Sasha manages to get out. Carmella gets the double chicken wing locked in on Sasha. Sasha manages to get out. We get a bank statement on Carmella. She's in the middle of the fucking ring. She's got nowhere to escape to. And then sweet Reginald Thomas comes in and saves her ass. Sasha's having none of that. She meteoras the Melier, and Carmella super kicks Sasha twice. It means nothing. We get a bank statement on Carmella. Sasha retains because Carmella taps out. I fucking hated this match, man. I hated it. The SmackDown match was so fucking good. And now we have this for a pay-per-view, and I was like,
they had some good spots. They needed to not have the sommelier. He should have been taken out a while ago. And they just needed some better character work. But
Shall we move on?
Yes, we do have a little backstage promo prior to our Raw Women's Tag Team match, or our Women's Tag Team match, because they don't differentiate the brand for that title. We had Billie Kay and Asuka. No, I know, but it's still before that match.
Oh, I see.
Whether it's the next one or not. We had Asuka and Billie Kay backstage. Billie Kay is handing Asuka her resume and headshot. She's like, "I'm ready to be on your tag team." Blah 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 blah. And Asuka looks it over and she's like, "Okay. You're not ready for Asuka."
And she hands it back though, which is so sweet.
Yeah. And that's where that ends. But then we had a little interview with the New Day prior to the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Where they're just I think it was Charlie interviewed with them, and she asked like how this match will be any different from the other times they defended the titles, and they just said it won't be. They wished Big E was there, which sucked. Made me sad. But he's in the building, so he could have been there. Then they basically said the bigger match requires a bigger victory. And then they did the WWE World Tag Team Champions with Charlie involved.
For the last time.
Oh. And then they went out. And so we had the Hurt Business versus the New Day. I picked the New Day. Liz picked the Hurt Business. And I was hurt. And so was Shelton.
Funny enough, though, Mark's done this, I think, once before. I was watching this. I think the roles were reversed. I chose the New Day for a match, and you chose the other team. And I was sitting there watching, and like the New Day almost got like the pin, and I was like, "Yay!" And I was like, "Fuck no! Get off of him!" Anyways, I don't feel good about what happened here today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Have
listen,
fun.
they're gonna get it back. You know they're gonna get it back.
Have fun telling Xavier that you rooted against him.
So we get a super kick immediately to Cedric and a side Russian leg sweep. It starts with Kofi and Cedric. There's a leg drop to Cedric from Xavier. Xavier and Cedric are now in. Kofi gets back in with a crossbody to Cedric off the ropes. Gets Xavier back in. Kofi kicks him. Xavier kicks him. There's a spinebuster to Cedric. Shelton breaks up the cover. Cedric kicks Xavier in the head. He gets Shelton in. There's a clothesline to Xavier and a suplex to Xavier. You get a pop-up powerbomb to Xavier from Shelton. There's some forearms to Shelton after multiple dodges. Xavier slams Shelton into the ropes and then goes off the ropes, over Shelton's body, and dropkicks Cedric. Kofi gets into dropkick Shelton, gets Xavier back in. There's a DDT to Shelton from Xavier. Kofi goes off the ropes into Cedric ringside. Xavier is slammed into the buckle by Shelton. Cedric is legal. There's a kick to Xavier ringside between the shoulder blade. You get a crossface on Xavier by Shelton and an armbar on Xavier. Cedric gets in. He starts doing some weird shit to Xavier's shoulder and then just slugs Xavier. He sets up with a neuralizer, but Xavier blocks with an enziguri. Shelton gets in. Kofi gets in. Kofi takes Cedric off the apron. We get a flying drop elbow to Shelton. We get some forearm drops to Shelton, and then Kofi keeps Cedric off the apron. He sets up for the bone drop, and Shelton immediately grabs Kofi while he jumps in the air. Kofi rolls through on Shelton as Cedric goes off the top buckle. Cedric dodges the Trouble in Paradise. There's a knee strike to Kofi and a brainbuster to Kofi. Xavier breaks up the cover. Shelton kicks Xavier in the head. There's a neuralizer to Xavier from Cedric and a facebuster to Xavier from Shelton. Shelton is the legal man now. And he goes for the anvil slam, but is kicked in the face by Shelton. Kofi then kicks Cedric in the face. Takes Shelton down one more time, goes up top. Shelton meets him with a nice little punch, and now the lads are going at it. Shelton jumps up to the top rope, superplexes Kofi. And just as he is about to do whatever the fuck he is about to do, Cedric smacks him in the back and jumps on in. You get a lumbar check to Kofi, and Hurt Business win.
Yeah. That's gonna...
Shelton was surprisingly not angry, though, which was weird.
I think we'll see the repercussions of this come Raw time. Yeah. I think some shit's happening with Cedric where he might be kicked out of the Hurt Business, or Shelton might leave. Or Cedric might leave after some harassment, or maybe it's just some light thing that'll be shrugged off because MVP says, guys, we're a team. We're champions. We do this. But, you know what this means now? Now that 3 members of the Hurt Business have gold, either MVP or Bobby is going to go for that WWE Championship. Or...
It makes sense.
What they could do to really make things interesting is have each of them fight each other amongst themselves to see who goes for it. Because there's already a little internal conflict thing going on with them.
Maybe. I could see it happening.
Yeah, imagine Cedric is the one to go for it. Maybe that's why he's been all hyped up, because he knows what's been going on behind the scenes.
Maybe.
I hope. I would like to see Cedric against Drew, but one Claymore kick and his face is imploded. Yeah.
Flying across the ring.
But after that, we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and a mystery teammate. Now, I predicted Nia Jax and Shayna would retain because the plan was supposed to be that Riot Squad gets the tag team championships, and they wouldn't put the championships on a mixed tag, a tag team that wasn't supposed to be a tag team. And Liz picked the opposite. We also did a side pick. I picked that Rhea Ripley would be joining Asuka because 3 of those 4 wrestlers came from NXT. But then I realized Charlotte was also from NXT. And Liz, who did you pick?
I picked Charlotte Flair.
And lo and behold, the mystery partner was Charlotte Flair. Now we have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and Charlotte Flair. And she's fucking back. And Liz, would you like to...
I'm so happy. I just she snuggled Asuka when she got out, and I said, oh. Pretty sure she got a nose job, but still in love with her. With or without the normal nose.
Yeah, let her get a nose job. It's fine.
Sure, why not? I was just so pleased. I was so fucking pleased. And people are pissed because they're like, oh, you fucking bring Lana all the way with this massive push, and then you just shove her to the side for Charlotte. Or Charlotte comes back and just gets a title gifted to her. And I was like, I'm sorry. If you're gonna try to convince me of a fucking champion real fucking quick, I think I'm gonna believe in the person who calls themselves the queen over the person who has cried for the last 3 Raws.
And also, where Lana's storyline has been going, the only way to put her in a big push and have her storyline actually like matter is in a singles run, not in a tag team run. Like, the only way Lana's gonna achieve anything is if she does it by herself. That's been the whole thing this whole time. Tag teams haven't been working out for her. Partnerships haven't been working out for her. She needs to do shit on her own.
Yeah, it's just like, you can complain that Charlotte's gifted this title. Who the fuck else is going for that fucking title right now? No one. Literally no one.
Lacey and Peyton? Mandy and Dana?
Jesus Christ, if you want to get mad about a fucking person getting a push and then not actually getting a push, look at Peyton. Okay?
Peyton has not been looking like a little bitch every time she's in the ring. Lana, however, literally cried the last time she was in the ring. Now, that's fine. I'm all for crying. I do it on a daily basis. But professional wrestlers, if you're going to be a fucking wrestler and fight for a living, you gotta hold that shit in like you're some edgy teenager.
As Tom Hanks best put it, there's no crying in baseball.
There's only hitting your opponents and anyone you're mad at in baseball.
Then again, I mean, the people who are going to comment on are usually the people that are going to be pissed about it, so.
Yeah.
I was just looking for comments as to whether or not she fucking got a nose job, and I just get like a bunch of fucking whiny pants being like, Charlotte shouldn't have gotten a title. It's like, oh, who fucking cares?
Charlotte absolutely deserves a title. She should get every title. She's the best women's wrestler around right now. Besides maybe Shayna.
Really is.
Shayna needs a fucking singles run real bad.
Which this would easily give them the opportunity to do a singles run now.
The only reason I wouldn't want that was because she's been doing amazing things for Nia's career. But maybe Nia will carry that into a singles career.
But also, I mean, who's to say, like, I mean, right now Asuka's technically on a tag team. Who's to say that Shayna can't also go on a singles run while intermittently doing tag shit?
Exactly.
I mean, you know, her versus what fucking women's tag team right now on fucking Raw?
Mandy and Dana. That's the only one.
I guess.
Peyton and Lacey was supposed to be like a one-time thing, but
Let's not talk about that.
They really gotta bring some more people, some more women into the main roster, so that we can have more women tag teams. It's absolutely abysmal right now. Like NXT is their women's tag team division is also their women's singles division. Like you can do both.
Yeah, and they do it well because it's like there's rarely a time where like I see somebody like put on such a platform where I'm like, oh yeah, you're part of a tag team. Like, no, I know Dakota and Raquel are tag team partners.
Mm-hmm.
I also know Raquel's about to rip Rhea's head off. So
yeah, it's also like fucking like the greatest tag team known for being a tag team, the New Day. Kofi was the fucking WWE champion for a while. And he's been a part of the greatest tag team ever known. And he's still had a very successful championship singles run. You can do that. You can have both. It's actually kind of ridiculous that the main roster feels like differentiating the two.
well, here's the thing. Vince fucking hates tag teams.
Vince does. And I agree 100% with, who said that? Bret Hart. I think it was Bret Hart. He said that Vince McMahon killed tag teams in the entirety of professional wrestling. And I agree. Nobody gives a shit about tag teams anymore.
It's hard to. I mean, I think the only people that are doing it justice at this point are New Day and the Hurt Business.
And Street Profits.
Yeah.
And Undisputed Era.
I'm talking about main roster.
Oh. If you want to
We're not
get
talking about the men under the care of fucking Triple H.
if you want to get like if you want to talk about the entirety of professional wrestling, then also like the Young Bucks.
Right.
Are there any? Well, Riot Squad. Riot Squad's a really good tag team. The Iconics were an amazing fucking tag team, even if they weren't like.
Annoying as shit, still good.
Huh?
It's annoying as shit, it's still good.
Yeah, like they weren't amazing in the ring or anything, but they were still like incredible on the mic and had great chemistry with other wrestlers.
I mean, and also think of it this way, like when we came into watching, the tag team scene was like, we had Asuka and Kyrie, we had Iconics, we had
Nikki
Sasha
and
and Bayley, we had
Nikki and Alexa.
Nikki and Alexa, Sonya and Mandy, which to be fair, that's not through any fault of the WWE's own, but they could have still given Mandy a singles run in the meantime.
Well, actually, they tore up that tag team before that happened.
True, you are right. You are correct. So still, and then let me recant. That is still the WWE's fault. But like, I'm sure I'm missing. Even we had like, this wasn't really a full tag team, but Dana and Carmella even.
Tamina and Nia, that was a tag team.
Tamina and Nia. Naomi and Tamina did some shit together, but that wasn't like a real tag team. I don't think.
I think Dana and Carmella. Did you already mention them?
Yeah, I did. It's just like we came in at such a point, and now look at us.
Bayley and Sasha were the greatest women's tag team. They were.
Yep. Now I understand why they milked it for all it's fucking worth, because I'm like, what are we doing? Good fucking thing that they didn't differentiate the fucking tag teams for the women on Raw or SmackDown.
I mean, also, not to say that the women's scene is completely abysmal, because you have Charlotte back, you have Alexa Bliss, who's looking better than ever, you have Sasha Banks, who looks amazing, you have Bayley, who's turning a new leaf and actually looking pretty decent, you have Bianca, who looks fantastic, Shayna and Nia both look amazing, Carmella, who looks pretty decent, she just needs to work on a couple things, Mandy looks pretty good, I think Dana still needs to work on some things, but that's... Ruby and Liv look absolutely fantastic.
You got Mia Yim.
Fucking Mia Yim. Do more shit with her. Yeah, she lost her mask once, but that's not her fault. That's the costume department's fault. They have so much to work with, but they refuse to do anything with it.
Getting fleas just thinking about it.
I know, but we should talk about the match itself.
Yeah, I guess. It's, man, dude, it's just... SmackDown Karaoke was the fucking death knell, dude. It was the death knell.
This is why I love the UPF so much. For those who don't know, check out the Universal Pokemon Federation on YouTube. Because we can basically make our own WWE and make the decisions that we want the WWE to make. But we do that ourselves, you know?
I just... Man, ask not for whom the bell tolls. The bell tolls for women's wrestling in the WWE.
I know.
Fucking miserable. At least be a guy every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was telling Mark when the fucking Wi-Fi went out, I was like, at least it's going out on a SmackDown night, because if it went out on a fucking Wednesday night, dude... Nope.
And
I would have cried.
It's not even like we can say, oh, we'll watch like Impact or AEW to get some good wrestling. But like the women's wrestling on both those brands, both those promotions is just as bad.
I have watched many an avid AEW fan, like the hardcore ones that even say like fuck WWE, like they do shitty, like it's horrible wrestling, whatever. That are still like the women's wrestling scene in AEW is a fucking disgrace.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of women's wrestlers, so they don't even have fucking like they don't have the excuse.
It's like there's no in between. You either have horribly abysmal wrestling in women's wrestling, or you have the greatest division of all of professional wrestling in NXT.
Again, I am just so thankful that we get to watch that, because I watched that and I'm like, damn, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
and I just want to add one more thing before we move on. Like, normally when you're watching the main roster, you need to kind of put on a filter when you watch women's wrestling. It's like, okay, it's women's wrestling. It's going to be a little different. You got to kind of adjust yourself. It's like going from a very light space to a dark space. Your eyes kind of need to adjust for a second.
yeah.
But when you're watching NXT, you don't need that filter. You don't need to adjust it all. It's all on the same standard.
It's literally the same shit.
Mm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Anyways. So we start tonight's match with Shayna and Asuka in the ring. Shayna kicks Asuka. There's an armbar to Shayna. Asuka avoids the elbow stomp, and Charlotte gets in. Thank God. Charlotte kicks Nia. Charlotte kicks Shayna, and then points at Nia and says, "I want you." And I said, "Alrighty, we're starting big." Which, thank God, because honestly, that for Charlotte to come out and straight up be like, "I want Nia Jax, and I want to fucking just take her to Pound Town right now," and not in the sexual way. There's no other way for me to say that. But like, because that made me feel like, okay, cool. So like, Charlotte's back, so that means that like, maybe we'll have like a good match with Nia again. You get a waist lock on Nia and then a sleeper hold on her. Charlotte gets Asuka in. Asuka elbows Nia. There's a jawbreaker, which this is like a little gripe I have. Asuka's whole like the thing where she like pulls your jaw down onto her like shins or her knees.
Asuka lock?
No, she kind of like takes the person's jaw and jumps down and sends their chin into her shins.
Having trouble picturing it right now.
Basically, they just call it double knees to the face, and I'm like, no, that's when you jump down from the fucking buckle into somebody who's against like the corner and hit them in the face with your knees. That's a jawbreaker, what she's doing. That is not double knees to the fucking face. And they say it every time, and it always throws me, because I'm like...
Also, can I just say that this match was like the perfect example of Charlotte Flair improving the women's wrestling scene, because Asuka looked so much better in this match, probably because she had to match the same level that Charlotte Flair brought to the table. And that it goes to show that Charlotte Flair's effect is not just herself. Her presence affects everything.
Right. I agree. We then get a hip attack to Nia. Asuka goes to the top rope, and Nia just kind of punches her. Asuka goes for the sunset flip, but Nia's like, "I'm Nia Jax. You cannot sunset flip my ass." Nia just hits her, slams her into the post. She gets Shayna in. Shayna takes to breaking Asuka's wrist for a little while. Shayna then just slams her backwards, throws her in the corner. Nia gets in. Nia sends Asuka's shoulder first into the post, and then ragdolls her into the barricade. Shayna gets back in. And again, as much as like it's annoying for me when I'm taking notes, to be like, and now Shayna's in, and now Nia's in. That's good tag team work.
Yeah.
And I really like that, because like when they first fucking started, oh my God.
But even when they first started, it was like done on a level where it was still good writing, because they were like bickering, and we had this kind of evolution in their skill level as a tag team.
Yeah. And I really like seeing that, like, we're still getting that character growth, though.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were, like, just tagging in on each other in the beginning because they wanted to get in, and now they're like, okay, I'm getting in and doing this. I'm throwing her back to you. I'm getting in and doing this, and you're going to go and do that. It's like, thank you. Shayna takes Asuka off her feet, kind of beats her up for a little bit. Nia gets back in. Asuka tries to shove Nia into the post, but it doesn't really fucking work. Asuka kicks Nia upside the head, gets Charlotte back in. Charlotte, this was a weird moment, though. Charlotte was standing on the apron. Shayna comes through, wrenches Charlotte off the apron. Charlotte just kind of like looks at her like, and then gets back up, and Asuka tags her in. I was like,
oh no,
that's supposed to be something.
No. What happened was, Shayna was pulling Charlotte away so that Asuka couldn't tag her.
Right. No, I got that. But usually when somebody does that, it means that the person can't tag them. Charlotte got back up on the apron like 5 seconds later. There was nothing that affected the match there.
I mean, they're both
Asuka just had to wait 5 seconds.
they're both illegal wrestlers, so they probably couldn't do more than that.
Yeah. Flair's there, by the way. He's watching. Hey, Weekend at Bernie's his ass, I guess.
Woo!
All right, no, it's more like woo!
Woo!
Yeah. Charlotte, please adopt me. There's a boot to the side of Nia's face, and my fucking god, Drew McIntyre, for shame. Charlotte Flair suplexes fucking Nia, and then kips up. And by kip up, I don't mean the little kip ups that Drew does that I originally thought were very fucking cool, where he like kind of gets like a half foot off the ground and gets up to his feet, and I was like, that's cool because I can't do that. However, Charlotte like goes up in the fucking air, and I said, oh my god, baby girl, that was some loft.
And she also suplexed Nia like it was nothing.
The suplex was literally the second half of my note. The kip up happened afterwards, but the suplex was the second half of my note because my brain did not register it. It's just.
Also, did you mention when Nia Jax Samoa dropped Charlotte, or did that happen later? Do you have that in your notes anywhere?
Later.
Okay.
Couple notes from now. But so Charlotte then takes the left knee of Nia. Asuka, Nia obviously kicks out. Asuka sends a sliding knee to Shayna. Then Charlotte Flair moonsaults off the top rope. And my god, did she fucking miss? But she made it look good because she put those arms out. And she took Nia and Shayna down. And I said, hey, wave. Charlotte Flair goes for that figure fucking.
Alright, the way she was like setting up and jumping off definitely felt very sketchy. But my god, did she land that shit.
Oh, Charlotte, we just got you back, baby girl. Don't do this. But then she fucking landed on her goddamn feet anyway, so like, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Charlotte goes for the figure 4. We go all the way up into the figure 8. And also, fuck the person that said that the figure 8's a stupid ass fucking move. Somebody said that's a bad finisher, and I was like,
who you can blame for that is What Culture, that website. They did a list of the worst finishers, one of which was the Hurt Lock, Bobby Lashley's full Nelson finisher, which is a bad finisher, I will say that. Bobby makes it look good. Yeah.
Bobby's spear is nasty.
The figure 8, it doesn't look like it hurts, but it still looks impressive either way.
Well, their problem with it was that it looks like it hurts her just as much, and I was like, yeah, and so does every other fucking wrestling move.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
It's not a good reason to say that a wrestling move is bad. Like, I'm sure Superplex feels just fucking dandy on somebody's back when they hit the ground.
Mm-hmm. Or like a spear doesn't hurt the shit out of Roman's head.
Yeah. And, like, that's the thing. It's like, they said that, and I was like, okay, granted, maybe you're right. Like, there are better finishers. But that's just how the world works. There's always something better than what you're probably doing. However, if I'm picking my top 10 worst fucking finishers, the figure 8 does not even break that list.
Yeah.
There is so much else that is so much stupider. It's nothing.
Well, what do you think are some worse finishers besides the Hurt Lock?
If
we're talking about the best finishers, I know Peyton's is one of the best.
Well, I know that they also said that the Starship Pain was a bad finisher, and I said
that's
also
all
weird.
That's all flashy, no real substance. It doesn't look like it hurts at all, and a finisher's supposed to fucking hurt.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. I mean, I think the Caterpillar is the fucking stupidest fucking move that's ever been created.
But, okay, that's why Heavy Machinery was like the best tag team, because you had Tucky, who was there to deal like the real damage and be like the serious one, and Otis was there for comic relief and deal the finisher. the real damage came from Tucky. Now that Otis is all alone, the Caterpillar does look kind of stupid, and that's why I support Chad Gable when he says no Caterpillar.
I think I might get some shit for this guy, and you might actually give me shit for this. I think the Asuka lock and the Banks statement are kind of stupid. It's just a crossface.
I disagree, just because you're like dragging their neck back.
Right, but why can't somebody just go and yeet? And just roll over.
Because they're, at least in Sasha's case, she is on top of you.
But I think for that to be the finisher when she does a really good frog splash and the Meteor is pretty fucking cool. Banks statement just kind of feels like an afterthought at that point. It's like it's not the cure for the clutch, which just like, that's just a fucking bear hug. Which, in my opinion, looks horrifying. Also, I don't know if this was on the list. Strowman Express, dude.
That's not a finisher, but that is fucking stupid.
It's a stupid fucking move.
Now, I will get a lot of shit for this. I know everyone watching, if you're a wrestling fan, will give me a lot of shit for this. What is Kofi's finisher? What's the name of it?
He's got a couple big moves that he does. There's the bone drop, which is just a leg drop.
The one...
The Trouble in Paradise.
Not the Trouble in Paradise. Not the SOS. The one where he goes from rope to rope, shouts, "New Day," and then does like a leg drop or something.
That's... The leg drop is the bone drop, I believe.
That I hate that finisher so much. I think
that's a stupid fucking move.
That is the worst finisher because he runs across the ropes to get so much momentum, stops to shout "New Day," and then just does a simple leg drop. It's the same thing with the People's Elbow, with the five knuckle shuffle. You get all this momentum just to stop, do a little flare, and then do a simple ass move.
Especially when the Trouble in Paradise and the SOS are really fucking cool moves. Plus the team offense that they do. I can't describe it without looking at my notes, but basically like somebody sets up, like somebody holds somebody jumps off the top buckle onto a person, basically then sending them into a backbreaker. That's a cool fucking move.
Mm-hmm.
Also, and if we're talking about best moves, the lumbar check?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It gives me anxiety.
But I think if we're talking like general best finishers, the spear is probably the best finisher out there. But I mean, worst finishers, I can't even remember like some really bad ones. I guess that's good.
I think that's one of those things where, like, though where like you kind of have to like be watching
mm-hmm.
see it.
The End of Days is fantastic.
It's really shitty. I will stand by this. Mandible Claw. That's fucking stupid.
It's stupid because they're so inconsistent with it. When it was a thing that would like change you and was like a mind control thing, it was fantastic. But since they changed it to be so inconsistent to where like it doesn't mean anything anymore, it's been so fucking stupid. It's just shoving your fingers in your mouth. What's that?
What about the stomp? Where do you stand on the stomp?
The stomp's great because it's such a simple move, but so aggressive, and like it feels like it's painful as hell, and it fit Seth's gimmick so well.
I prefer, when it comes to Seth's moves, I definitely prefer the Sling Blade and the Falcon Arrow a lot more. I think the Sling Blade's really fucking cool.
It's not a finisher though, but yeah.
But I'm saying as far as a moveset goes, I prefer those two over the stomp.
Right.
But I think the stomp is, I guess it's more so like, that's one of those moves that like kind of sucks sometimes in shorter matches where it's like the guy doesn't look that fucking beat up. Mm-hmm. Then he stomps and it's over. And it's like,
one of One of the best finishers, though, is Montez's Frog Splash.
Dude, that's scary.
Nobody does it better. At all.
I think, to be fair, he's got long-ass legs. He's already far enough up in the air.
But also, there are people taller than him who cannot do as good of a Frog Splash. The fact that he can turn 90 degrees in the air.
What do you feel about, though, as far as between the Brogue and the Claymore? What would you prefer?
I prefer the Claymore because there's a lot of momentum to it, but when Sheamus is very conservative when it comes to his Brogue kick, whereas Drew tries to do it every 5 minutes. The Brogue kick feels like it has more power to it, but the Claymore kick is more satisfying.
I agree with that. I think that the Brogue is much, like, it's nice that he uses it so sparingly, because I think if he used it too much, I'd be like, this is fucking stupid, Sheamus. But I think because Drew does this thing that I yell at Jeff for doing. I like when Drew does it. Where Jeff does his stupid rapid fire moveset.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate that. But when Drew gets in, and we get those massive fucking suplexes, we get, oh god, what is it? Massive suplexes. We get the fucking, sometimes he'll do the Future Shock DDT, and then into the Claymore, and then into the Kip Up. That's awesome. There's nothing in a match that gets my fucking blood pumping more than when I watch that happen, because I'm just like, we're here! We're doing it!
I think Tommaso might have one of the best ones, like the fairy tale ending.
You mean Mr. Blue Lives Matter?
Look, okay. We don't know if that was him or that was the set designer.
That was his gym.
Could have still been a set designer who brought in some set pieces.
He couldn't have turned around and said, hey, fuck that, no way.
He's blind? I don't know.
He's a really good fucking wrestler if he's blind, dude. Damn. He's got no peripherals.
Oh, God. I know. It's the same thing with Undertaker. Except Tommaso has less of a legacy. But unless he does something outwardly shitty.
I guess I can't judge him because I still love Bobby Fish.
Yeah.
So. To be fair, the one nice thing about that was that we got Tim Tams. Now I can be like, I love Timmy. Fuck off, Tom.
Yeah.
That is something that someone was talking about was there is something to be said about, especially in NXT, the resurgence of like that technical style over strong style and like the flippy shit that everyone does.
Entertainment wrestling.
Right. I think that like a lot of those finishers, even when it's like just like the fucking ankle lock, like the ankle lock is such a simple fucking move.
Mm-hmm.
But when Timmy does it, my ankles fucking hurt.
And it has a lot to do with like good selling on the part of the opponent and really good performing from the person doing the move. And Tim Tams is just a fantastic wrestler in and of himself. But yeah, I totally know what you mean. What's AJ Styles' finisher? Is it the phenomenal forearm?
Yeah.
It might not be a fantastic on its own, but you compare that to Roman's Superman punch, and my god, is it miles better.
It's the phenomenal forearms I only fucking hate for one reason and one reason alone. Half the time when AJ does it, it looks like he's just Superman punching somebody off the ropes. And yes, it looks way better because he's flying through the fucking air onto your face. Half the time he doesn't use the forearms, and I'm like, I know the phenomenal fist sounds fucking stupid. However.
Yeah. And I think one thing that, this is like a very small thing, but pretty important. I think AJ does it better because he sticks his chest out when he does it. Roman just kind of brings his arm back. AJ like brings his whole chest out, his shoulders back. That really shows a lot more power than vice versa.
I agree. I think AJ is really almost underutilized in a way.
He is.
I mean, like in the same vein as Cesaro, because Cesaro also has the swing, which I really like.
Mm.
Also, if we're talking about Cesaro, and we're talking about great moves, cannot forget Shinsuke's Kinshasa.
Oh yeah,
that's nasty.
Mm-hmm.
However, his inverted atomic drop is shit in comparison to, I think it was Kushida on Wednesday did one where I finally understood the move, because Shinsuke doesn't. I'm like, but then I saw it happen to Austin Theory, and I saw a knee go into Austin Theory's balls, and I said, oh, that's the atomic part.
But going back to AJ Styles and being underutilized, I personally think he's like one of the best wrestlers that the WWE has, especially on Raw. And he needs to be a champion. He needs to be a face champion. He's good as a heel, but he's a chicken shit heel right now. He needs to be something greater.
I think that he's like, I think he's so charismatic.
Yeah.
That like the fact that they don't use him is kind of shocking, because he's a fan favorite too.
Mm-hmm.
So it just doesn't register with me, and there's no shortage of people that he could fight. I mean, him versus like Cedric.
Yeah, and he's got like that perfect. He's got that perfect middle ground physique. Like, he's not cruiserweight, but he's also not like macho, like Hulk Hogan body. But he's proven he can fight like super big dudes, like how he fought Drew today, how he's fought fucking like Jinder Mahal. He's an incredibly talented wrestler, and he definitely deserves some championship. I think his Intercontinental Championship run was kind of pathetic. Not in the sense that he did bad wrestling, but it wasn't who AJ Styles is.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think that we have a good thing going with him right now, though, where it's like, I think he's going to end up basically dying at WWE, and I think that he's been getting a lot of time to show his personality. And now that he's not just like fucking around with the Intercontinental Championship, we've got him going anywhere he wants.
Now, I hate to cut our conversation short, but we have diverted.
We're still talking about a match yet.
Did we finish that match yet, or?
No.
Oh my god! Oh, because we
started talking about the figure four.
Yeah, the figure eight, and how what culture said it was a shitty finisher, even though it's pretty much not.
You can chalk that one up to sexism. Anyways.
Also, the elitism in the wrestling fan base. Both of that.
That's a different conversation for a different hour. So yeah, Asuka is tagged in, and then Charlotte's Simone dropped, as you were waiting for.
Speaking of that, I don't want to divert too much. I just want to say that was a great looking Simone drop.
It was a really decent one. Kudos to Nia for looking so good.
Yeah.
Also, kudos to Nia and Shayna for having matching gear today. Really like this one. Mostly because I think it was new gear for Nia.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was the perfect, like, Nia was still wearing basically the same thing she normally wears. Shayna was wearing the exact same thing she normally wears. Now it was matching, and I was like, this is a perfect representation of their personalities. We get a missile dropkick to Nia off the top rope from Asuka. Shayna gets in, gets the Kirifuda clutch in on Asuka, sorry. And Charlotte tags in. We get a backbreaker, and Shayna is sent face first into the buckle. Shayna rolls Charlotte up. I fucked up, actually. We had the figure 4 attempted to be locked in. That was not when it happened, though. We now have the figure 8 on Shayna.
Right.
And Nia pulled Charlotte from the fucking ring.
Yeah, which was a great way to pull somebody out of a figure 8, just pulling Charlotte's arms out.
Yeah. Then get Asuka takes Nia Jax out with another hip attack. Shayna rolls Charlotte up into the Kirifuda clutch, but it doesn't fucking lock in. We get the natural fucking selection. Gets the job done. Get the fuck out of my house. Charlotte Flair, baby.
In a amazing match. The only thing that would have made it better, and it would have given us a whole different result, is if we had the result that gave Shayna and Nia the tag team championships in the first place, where Shayna had Bayley and Sasha both in a Kirifuda clutch, both in a submission hold, in probably the best finisher we will ever have in a wrestling match.
The fact that Charlotte got out of the Kirifuda clutch was really fucking like... That was a moment where I just sat there and I was like... Wait. God, I'm sorry. This was just such a fucking match. I loved this. Loved every second of this. Charlotte looked hard as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, is Shevitz. And like, I really liked too that we got the continuation of Charlotte's mutual respect for Asuka. Because we had that when Charlotte first went for the title against Asuka. And I'm glad that we still are getting that.
Yeah.
It actually took me a second after. I only realized this just a couple months ago. But I forgot where we left off with Charlotte. And then I remembered and I was like, gotcha.
Where did we leave off with her? Was it her match against Asuka?
I broke her fucking leg.
Oh.
By dumping her in like that laundry cart or something. And that's why she saw Nia and she was like, I want you. Because she had lost a match against somebody. I can't remember who. I think it may have been Asuka. May not have been. Not really sure. And she was like super upset. She was like crying. She limped out of the fucking ring. And then Nia attacked her.
It does make me a little sad that we won't, at least anytime soon, be getting her against Sasha or her against Bayley or her against Bianca. Probably the 3 best women's wrestlers that are on SmackDown right now.
I just hope Becky was watching tonight and she was like, fuck, I gotta get back there.
I hope the Bella twins were watching and saying the same thing.
This is weird to say, but whenever we're watching Raw or NXT and the Total Bellas commercials come on, and they're still technically, one of them is still pregnant, I think, in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now in terms of the seasons, and you keep having to sit back and I'm like, didn't y'all already have your kids?
Yeah.
What is going on?
It's like how with Miss and Mrs., they're just now getting to the pandemic era.
But I do hope that if the Bella twins do come back, even if it's just one of them, I hope that they have like moved out of the Divas era thing. I really hope that they don't come back doing that same shit because I love them too much to hate them. Also, Mark and I were kind of concerned because we were like, there were also rumors that Eva Marie was coming back tonight, and I said, I swear to God, if I am promised Charlotte and I get Eva fucking Marie.
The only 2 wrestlers that would have satisfied both of us would have been Charlotte and Rhea. And Rhea's kind of back and forth. I know you wouldn't have loved Rhea because bringing her to the main roster might have killed her a little bit. But there is hope. Charlotte came from NXT and she's been fucking amazing on the main roster. Same with Sasha and Bayley and Street Profits. But anybody else out of those 2 would have been a massive disappointment. Even if it was Mandy, like we've been led to believe. Ugh.
I honestly, like, I ran through it in my head and I was like, Freya comes back, I'm going to be miserable because I need her on NXT. If it's Mandy, I'm just going to kill myself right here because that's not a fucking surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw her like a week ago. If it was Lana, definitely was going to jump out of the fucking window. If it was fucking Eva Marie, I was going to have a goddamn shit fit. The only person that would have made me happy was Charlotte. Anybody else, unless like all of a sudden Becky was like, I don't care that I just had a child, I am back. Unless it was her. There's only room for one redhead on the fucking main roster. It is Becky Lynch. So help me God. After watching one season of Total Divas and watching Eva Marie for that one season, my brain melted. I was like, nope.
So you wouldn't want
wine corkscrew thing up my fucking nose and lobotomize me there.
You wouldn't want Priscilla Kelly on the main roster?
I didn't have to watch her in Total Divas, so that's a start.
She's the one divorcing Darby Allin.
Isn't she AEW?
She's indie right now.
She's got black hair.
No, most recently she is.
Or the ends right now.
Huh?
It looks like there's one picture of her with red hair, like.
Currently she has red hair because if you look her up on Instagram, all of her pictures are of her in red hair.
Okay, I might make like one exception.
She had a match with Thunder Rosa recently. That's like a banger of a match. She's really talented.
Am her and Darby Allin together though? Why must the good things die young? Oh, that is a hot fucking couple. Like, that does it for me. That is Elizabeth's type right there.
Yeah, Darby Allin without that fucking skull face paint, he's a good looking guy.
I'll take him either way. He's a quiet dude, right?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, if you've seen him on AEW, he's like a skater dude level of loud.
So is he like a dipshit then?
He is a huge dipshit.
Okay, perfect. I either like the quiet ones or the total fucking morons, and I will take that. Hell yeah.
I mean, watching like AEW kind of passively, just based on like highlights and shit, I would love to see a Cody Darby Allin tag team. That shit would be amazing. But
yeah, I'm kind of in love with him.
Isn't he? He's pretty short too. He's pretty short.
Ooh, 5'8". Never mind. Taking that one back. Oof.
If you're a short king though, you're still a king. To all of you short kings out there.
And Mark may support you. I don't know if I do. Also, real quick, short kings, by the way. I just want to say that Charlotte Flair's build height is 5'10". I'm sorry. Maybe like 2 5'10" stacked on top of each other, sure. But 5'10"? No.
Yeah, no. She's like 6 feet.
She's huge, and my God, do I want her to kick me in the fucking teeth. I would love for her to just take my fucking calf muscles and tear them in half.
If that was Ric Flair, I would be the proudest father in the world.
If I was Andrade, I'd be the fucking proudest dude in the world. Also, though, Andrade did post a picture of Charlotte Flair dead fucking asleep, and I told Mark that if he ever did something like that to me, I would break his fucking neck. The picture, like, it's Charlotte Flair. It's not a bad picture, but it's definitely not her most gorgeous angle. Her mouth is definitely like a little open, and I was like, oh, sweetie, you're like probably drooling all over those sheets. Damn. I was like, oh man, if a man ever posted a picture of me looking, because like people are like conked out, and like in movies, it's like, oh my god, they're so peaceful, they're so cute. Oh my god. In real life, no one looks sexy while asleep. I'm sorry. They probably look like a fool 90% of the time. That's all I have to say.
But we are past the halfway point of the show right now, so it is time for my punishment.
Oh, yes, it is. Here, Mark. So remember, draw it well, nothing happens. Draw it poorly, and you have to go get another seltzer, and I have to get, well, I've got a second beer, so.
I can't reach a pen right now. Okay, so why are you adding a drink to your total? Why not just make it for me?
Oh, yeah. No, it's just for you, sorry.
That makes no sense.
I figured I was going to have another beer at any point anyway, so.
I just fucked myself over, but...
You did. I mean, to be fair, you were going to be fucked over one way or the other. You just unfucked me over. So I appreciate that.
I mean, I'm just trying to make this make sense, is all. Alright.
You only give you a full minute instead of just 30 seconds, though?
I'm a full minute, 30 seconds. It's... Well, give me a minute to think of my favorite wrestler first.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you when I'm ready. Because this is kind of a difficult decision, thinking of, like, my favorite wrestler. Okay, I got it. All
right. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Set.
Do I need to show you the sketch?
You can if you'd like. You can Dexter Loomis me here. 10 seconds. Halfway point.
My pen's dead. Okay, there we go.
And time. Dear Lord, what have you done?
You know who it is based on that line. That line in the hair.
Line in the hair?
You know who it is.
What's going on with the side of the face there?
No, this is a profile view. I didn't have time to draw the nose or mouth.
Oh, Johnny Gargano.
Yes, it is. I knew you would get it.
I was like, who's got a stupid fucking haircut?
It's Johnny.
Well, bask in your glory here. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, okay?
Oh, boy. So I gotta riff for a little bit. Fuck, okay.
Things I just gotta pee.
Alright, so hope you're all enjoying the podcast so far while Liz is going to go urinate right now. In the meantime, I don't want to give too much of an update on the my power rankings because the Mike Romies are coming up a week from now. However, I will tell you the best and worst wrestlers right now. The best, actually, I think the best and worst both fought today. They did. So the best wrestler right now, no surprise, is Mr. Drew McIntyre, whose record is 33-5. That is insane. The only person in the top 10 who even comes close, or even has a lower loss number than him, is Mr. Roman Reigns, who has 2 losses. Now, the worst wrestler currently in the WWE also fought today. You wouldn't think with his numbers he would be the worst. Oh, but he is. That is Mr. King Corbin. I know, unfortunately, I love King Corbin. His record right now is 6-25. However, he has won a single main event match this year, but lost 9. He's lost 9 main event matches. And that's even including our picks for him for Fighter and Fight of the Night. He's also lost 8 pay-per-view matches and won 0. He hasn't won a single pay-per-view match this year. Isn't that insane, Liz?
It is. It hurts my feelings to know that Corbin's so low. But
I know.
Do you think that if Roman was around all year that he would have a better ranking than Drew?
He would have a worse ranking. Or, yeah, he would have a worse ranking.
I think so.
Because Sami came back. When Sami just came back, he had one of the best records. He was sitting at like 7-1 with his only loss being a not important match, while his other ones were like title wins, title defenses, shit like that. Now he's sitting at 8-6. With 2 pay-per-view losses, and the only thing kind of keeping him in the S tier is our 5 picks of him for Fight of the Night. So those picks really do help a wrestler. So when we get to the Mike Romies, take that into consideration when we're talking about our power rankings.
Yes, the Mike Romies, by the way, are going to be a wonderful and fun experience. We had a 100% fantastic, fun-filled evening planned for you guys. And then Bryan Marlowe stepped in and said, "Fuck you," and I said, "Okay, well, I'll just sit back."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a super fun time. You guys really should tune in. I promise it'll actually happen this time.
Yeah.
Start your new year off right with the Mike Romies.
But getting back to our regularly scheduled program, we had a little promo featuring Big E and R-Truth, where they're just chatting, and then Sami Zayn walks in, and Sami's accusing Big E of a lot of stuff. R-Truth is just standing there watching. Sami's like, "I know you rigged the Sammys this year. I know you did it." And Big E's just like, "All right, enough with your conspiracy theories. I think it's time you take your medication and go to bed." R-Truth just walks away. And they continue arguing. And then it's revealed that we have an Intercontinental title match on Christmas Day between Big E and Sami Zayn. And I plan on watching that with my parents, and I cannot wait for them to see it. But then we have Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. And Liz, I picked Roman Reigns to retain. Who did you pick?
I picked Kevin Owens. Which, here's, I'll save this for later. Which, to be totally fair, this was a better match than this match had any business being.
This match, like, okay. I expected Roman and Kevin Owens to be, like, a complete mismatch. Kevin, no offense to him, I love him very dearly. He's completely out of Roman's weight class and everything. But this match was fantastic.
If you had told me when Roman came back that he'd be fighting Kevin Owens at a pay-per-view, I'd be like, okay.
And that it would be a handicap match in favor of Roman.
And Roman would win by the skin of his fucking teeth? Something else, honestly. First of all, Roman comes out first, which was strange enough. Mark got excited thinking that something special was going to happen. No, Kevin Owens just comes out of absolutely fucking nowhere and attacks Roman. Kevin then frog splashes onto Roman's chest. He loads a ladder in, and then there's Jay. Jay gets super kicked by Kevin. Kevin gets a chair and hits both Roman and Jay. Jay goes for a super kick to Kevin and is met with a chair. Kevin shoves Jay's ankle into that chair and stomps. Roman then takes hold of the match a little bit and drop kicks Kevin Owens on the apron. Quite literally out of fucking nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
We had full view of the fucking other sides of the ring. I did not see this man. Roman then stabs Kevin with the visor of the announce desk. He steps on the face of Kevin, sends a ladder to his back. Kevin gets a chair. Roman gets a chair. Kevin uses his chair as a shield up until Roman kind of just yanks it away from him. And McMurders his sad fucking ass. There's a back body drop into 2 chairs, and Kevin Owens is like dead. There's some steel chairs to the back of Roman. Kevin suplexes Roman into the literal edge of a fucking seat. Kevin goes for the title. Jay yanks him down from the ladder. There's a Superman punch to Kevin Owens. Jay loads a table into the ring, and Roman sets one up in the corner. Roman stomps on Kevin's head a little bit, and then Kevin super kicks Jay, stunners Roman. I said, what the fuck is happening? How is this man not dead? Kevin sets up a ladder. He slams Jay with a pop-up powerbomb through the fucking announce desk. He fucking then buries Jay with anything he can fucking find. He and Roman go up to the top of the ladder. They're fighting up there for a while. There's a powerbomb to Kevin Owens into another fucking ladder, and then again into the side of the ladder. Roman then slams Kevin through another table. He Samoan drops Kevin Owens through a table, sort of like Lana. Roman takes his sweet time to climb the ladder, and Kevin Owens just grabs his fucking ankle. My dead-ass Kevin Owens just reaches up and goes, no. Please no. And Roman, instead of doing the smart thing, shaking him off, goes back down. Kevin stands up and slaps Roman in the fucking teeth.
That was a hard-ass slap.
That was a slap that said, you agreed to this earlier. And then Roman spears Kevin Owens through a table in the corner, quite literally not only damaging Kevin and putting him in a table cocoon, but also fucking damaging Roman, who like grabs his shoulder like he just fucking saw the end times. Kevin then goes up the ladder, and somehow, in spite of all of this, Roman's still alive. Roman then sends Kevin into the ladder face first. Kevin super kicks Roman, because he still has the fucking strength to do that. Kevin goes for the pop-up powerbomb on Roman, and when he does the pop-up aspect of it, he gets fucking Superman punched. He tries again. And he powerbombs Roman into the fucking table. And at this point, because then Jay fucking finds Kevin, Kevin stunners Jay. At that point, I was like, I have this in the fucking bag. This is it. Kevin gets to the top of the fucking ladder. His little slippery fucking sweaty ass hands are just gliding off the goddamn belt. And then Roman punches Kevin Owens in the fucking cojones, gets him in the guillotine, knocks him the fuck out, gets his fucking title, and honestly, sweetie, blind squirrel gets nut every once in a while. Honestly, if I was going to lose any match...
Whoa. Hold on. If we're talking about blind squirrels in this match, it's you. To think that... To predict that Kevin Owens would beat Roman...
But... What I'm saying is that, like, at the very least, although I did lose this, and although it was a fucking goofy-ass fucking bet, as a viewer, I lost nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I lost absolutely nothing here. I won.
But before we move on, I do need to run to the restroom as well, so you are going to have to riff in the meantime.
Yeah, okay. So, we, as we mentioned, didn't have Wi-Fi for 3 days, I guess. So on Friday, instead of doing the podcast, because we finally cut our fucking losses, and I said, well, what are we going to fucking do? Our housemate Eldon suggested that we do board games or something. So we did. We played Uno for a little bit. I think we ended up playing What Do You Meme for a minute. I got very drunk. And my ass left the bathroom. And when my ass left the fucking bathroom, my ass also, let's see if I can show this. You can't quite see it from this angle. I'm wearing pants, I promise. You can't quite see it from this angle, but right about here, actually it's all bruised down here too. Right there, I was leaving the bathroom, and then I smacked my full fucking knee into the door frame. And like the loudest fucking smack you ever fucking heard. I limped out of that bathroom like a goddamn invalid. Now, yesterday was worse. Yesterday it hurt to bend the knee altogether. Now it's just like this nasty blue and green shit. It's going all the way down the fucking, like, you can kind of see it here, I think. All the way down the side of the knee. So, that's my cautionary tale. Don't drink. Cheers. Oh, God. I liked these drinks before. They got 9.5% alcohol, and my God, do they taste like fucking champagne, and it just meets my... Did you hear my story while you were in the bathroom?
Enough about talking about your knees.
It hurts so bad, dude, and skink's so pretty, though. Like, the bruise is, like, especially right at the top. That is, like, I'm a little moldy peach now.
All right, moving on. We now are moving on to the main event. The Fiend versus Randy Orton. And Liz,
So,
we both picked Randy Orton. And we both win.
could have fooled my ass, though, because when we realized we won, I was like, oh, no, because Mark was like, oh, great, we win. And I was like, no, we just... Yeah, that's what just fucking happened. I said, I don't know how I didn't think that was happening right now. But real quick, Bray posted this picture, which looks weird. It's a cocoon or like a pod, like a seed pod, I think, or something like that. Might be a cocoon. I'm not really sure. And Bray just tweeted that picture and said, thank you.
Also, real quick thing related to this match, Alexa Bliss tweeted about why she's been gone this whole time. And it turns out it wasn't an acting gig. She's actually been on vacation, and she's taken this time off for months now. So, nothing super important or anything. Just a reason why she's been gone.
Also, Sean Ross Sapp, who, honestly, in the world of, like, elitist wrestling critics and stuff like that, you should be thankful for somebody like Sean Ross Sapp. He's an amazing fucking critic and, like, just reporter.
Yeah.
I genuinely love following his Twitter. I think it was one of the first Twitters that we followed. It's just so, it's, first of all, incredibly informative half the time. Especially if we're, like, if I'm ever looking for, like, information on, like, something I think that's happened, I can just go to his Twitter and I'll find what I need. But he tweeted, I'll just throw this out there again. Drew McIntyre did not need to lose the title when he did. It added nothing, and this match went a long way in fixing that weird decision. Which I think is totally fair.
Yeah. Also...
because it showed Drew just fucking destroying several people at once. Being able to look amazing.
And regarding this match that we're on right now, I don't know how you felt about this match, but I think this was the most ridiculous, entertaining, non-cinematic match that we've ever gotten. I loved it. I loved this match because of how fucking ridiculous and insane it was for not even being a cinematic match.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I really did like this match, for sure. This match lasted like 5 minutes and it needed to last longer. And I think that I think it would have done better if it was a cinematic.
I do think it would have done better as a cinematic, but I disagree about its length. I think we got exactly what we needed in the amount of time. The fact that we got the Fiend basically no-selling an RKO while on fire was fucking amazing. And the fact that Randy had to set the Fiend on fire twice. And you had the Fiend lighting a rocking chair on fire while Randy's sitting in it, and just him completely dodging that. This match, it was so good. It was so good for the price of admission. Hold on 1 second. The cat wants to get out, even though I just let her in.
Of course, she made one decision. She wants to make another one now.
Yeah.
She's a goddamn menace. Bless her soul. She's a fucking menace.
Not one of them.
Is she back in there with you?
No, I kind of nudged her out. I opened the door and she just continued standing by it.
Hi, Pookie. Oh, did Daddy kick you out? Oh, I know. I'm so sorry, Pookie. I know. So mean sometimes. Abandoned.
She was standing by the door like she wanted to leave.
She's a jerk. But she's a cute jerk. No, okay. So what I was saying, though, is that, like, I did really like this match. And that's why I wish it was a little bit longer. Because I think if it was longer, I would have really gotten some shit. Because, like, there wasn't a ton of stuff where I was like, oh, fuck.
Right, but, I mean, you think about what they would have added if it was longer. You already had a mandible claw. You had an attempt at a Sister Abigail. You had an RKO. You had several attempts where they tried to light each other on fire, whether it was lighting a trail on fire, having a tool on fire, or lighting the other person in gasoline. Yeah.
I know why I think this should have been longer. It's only because it was a main event. If this weren't a main event match, it was like maybe the match before the main event, fine. I would have sat back and I would have said, yeah, that was great.
The only reason this was a main event, though, is because they lit the ring on fire.
Yeah. I am happy, though, that, like, this is not just a Kane thing now.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a little jarring, though, to see the fireproofing stuff that they have.
It is, because it looks like blood.
Which, if they had said something like, when it was on the rocking chair at least, if they had said something like, oh, it looks like it's all bloody or something like that, I would have been like, all right, sure, whatever. I wouldn't have thought about it. But then I was like, oh, that's the fireproofing. So they don't actually set shit on fire. Because everything was fireproofed. All the way down to the match that Randy Orton uses to light Bray on fire with. And
the annoying thing for me is that fireproofing stuff that they use on, like, actors in movies, that stuff's clear. Like, it's just a clear gel. It's not red. They can get, like, the clear stuff. I don't know why they didn't use red
stuff for the crate either.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was like a design choice, like they wanted it to look like blood to kind of sell it better.
But let's get into this. She's being very affectionate.
Of course she is.
So yeah, we start with, first of all, they spent, I don't know how many minutes into this fucking match with no flames.
Yeah.
I was sitting there for a second, I was like, did I misread the label on this one, or?
But the way that they did bring it in, I think, was a little bit, like, it made it seem like it was intentional.
But the way that they should have brought it in was they should have had Bray come out to the ring, do whatever the fuck, like do that little flourish that he did, and then it all lights on fire. Yeah. It didn't make sense for us to have 5 full minutes of me being like, where are the flames? Anyways, Randy punches Bray, and Bray starts laughing. The Fiend stumps Randy for a bit. There's a shoulder tackle to Randy. This is post Flames. And a drop kick to Randy as well. You get a failed Sister Abigail on a backbreaker. And finally a successful Sister Abigail to Randy. Randy is almost set on fire in this moment. Fiend then slams Randy into the stairs, pokes his little eyeballs, gets a little mini strap, whips that against Randy's back. Then he gets another mini strap, the fireproofed one, and lights it on fucking fire and tries to hit Randy with it. And I said, okay, all right. I've had enough for today, thank you. Randy avoids it and is shoved into the post. Then Bray gets a fucking pickaxe.
Wait, what? Oh, the pickaxe, okay.
Yeah. Nearly takes a chunk out of Randy Orton. He accidentally slams into the fucking back of the barricade, I think. And, well, not accidentally, but, like, misses Randy, hits into the back of the barricade.
It was like a table behind the barricade.
Oh, okay. The timekeeper's area, where, shockingly, there was no micro and no timekeeper
And there
today.
was a rocking chair?
Which I really... Until I noticed that there was, like, the fireproofing stuff all over it, I was like, I wonder if my girl was just sitting in that earlier. I don't know how it works, though. Do you know if that, like, stays tacky or something?
What?
Like if it's a gel fireproofing stuff?
It's like... I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's not like water, but it's not like Jell-O. It's kind of like hair gel.
If someone were to touch that chair, would they get shit on their hand or would they not?
They would get shit on their hand. But considering how this match was, they probably did a lot of cuts to, like, do one cut with it without the fireproof stuff.
Because very clearly, when we saw that rocking chair, it was a rocking chair.
Yeah.
There was nothing on that rocking chair. And my dumb fucking Mark ass. At the end, I had a fucking minute. We'll talk about it. So Bray then covers the rocking chair that he finds in lighter fluid, leads a whole trail of it to the chair. This is about to fall over, so I apologize in advance. The cat's gonna get scared.
Fine,
and that's gonna
let
be
it fall over.
She keeps headbutting it, so and I'm just actively petting her. But he lights a little trail of lighter fluid as well and shoves Randy into that rocking chair and lights the fucking trail all the way up to the fucking rocking chair on fire. And Randy Orton, the little knocked out bitch, is just like, oh fuck. Stands up before his manhood is s'mores. Randy then hits the Fiend with an axe handle, then some steel steps.
Why was there just an axe handle and not the whole axe? There was a pickaxe.
And then Randy gets a chain, just wraps that around his hand, hits Bray with it. Several times.
Did you skip over the part where the Fiend grabs a strap?
Yeah, I talked about that.
Okay.
And it was a mini strap, Marcus, not a strap. So Randy hits the Fiend with the axe handle and then some steel steps. He gets a chain and hits the Fiend with it, but he can't seem to keep the chain on his fucking hand for the life of him.
I mean, understandable.
I guess. I also feel like hitting somebody with a chain would also hurt you.
If it's around your hand?
Because he wrapped it around his hand.
I mean, it's the same as like brass knuckles. So it might hurt you a little bit, but it'll definitely hurt the other person more.
There's a choke slam to Randy. Fiend throws Randy from the ring, then sets the axe handle on fire. No clue what happens there, by the way. Don't remember what happened there. There's a Draper DDT with Randy's signature weird fucking face to the Fiend. Then we get a mandible claw onto Randy. And Randy turns that shit around, sets the fucking Fiend on fire. Then, RKO's the bastard. And because there was no timekeeper, the bell didn't ring, and my brain was like, "Oh fuck." Which also threw me because like, it didn't feel like there was like that like end.
Yeah.
Like I would have preferred if they had like at least played a sound over the fucking like speaker system.
Mm-hmm.
My dumb ass. First of all, I see Fiend get set on fire, and Mark's like, "Yes," and I was like, "Oh, we wanted Randy to win." And Mark's like, "What do you think happened there?" And then, so the Fiend, after his RKO, Randy goes up and like kicks him and like makes sure he's dead. Then he goes, he gets the lighter fluid, he gets a box of matches, and Randy pours the gasoline on the Fiend and sets him on fire. And my ass watches Fiend go up in fucking flames all the way to his fucking dreads. And I was like, oh no, that's horrible. Like, how are they gonna, like, how does that not kill him? Like, for real.
Randy just murdered a guy.
And Randy looked like he had just murdered a guy too. And so I was like, and Mark's like, that's not actually Bray Wyatt, you know? And I was like, what? And then I see the fucking like pantyhose like stuffed body like peeping out through like the fucking like singlet that he wears or like the tank top that he wears, and I was like, oh, I really thought that they just set a full ass man on fire.
No, if they did, you would have seen like the gel that they use. But no, that was not a real man on fire.
I really genuinely thought for a full fucking second, I was like, how are they pulling that one off?
Movie magic is what it's called.
You know, I'm a pretty smart fucking person. I like to think of myself as a pretty educated person when it comes to sports. I have my moments, though.
But again, it's like, proud. When crowds are back, I'm gonna miss matches like this because you can't have this shit when there's crowds.
That's true. I mean, to be fair, when we were watching Botchamania, Heath Slater talks about how he went out and did a match twice because they weren't going to use the first one that he did against Sin Cara.
I know, but that's just having a match twice, but...
True. I know what you're saying. But that also might mean that we'll just get more cinematic matches.
Right, yeah.
But basically, they can still show that.
Not cinematic matches like the John Cena Firefly Funhouse match, because that started in the ring and transitioned into the Firefly Funhouse.
How is that much different from like any of the times where like matches get like super intense and like go out into like the fucking like walkways of the arenas and stuff?
The way that it was done for that match at WrestleMania was very seamless.
That's fair.
Plus, it looks a lot better than just them brawling their way, like punching their way out into the hallway.
Yeah, it's weird to notice that there are things that have kind of been really cool additions to wrestling in spite of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's almost weird to be like, oh man, I'm gonna fucking miss that. Like, because it's not forever.
I know.
Also, can I just quickly say something? So, real shameless plug here, and it's not for me, so it doesn't matter. I got this Selena Gomez lip balm, and not only is it super fucking pigmented, like it looks natural, and this is after me drinking from 3 different bottles. My beer bottle, for my glass, and for my seltzer can. Without
setting spray, right?
I don't setting spray my lips. I don't want to taste that shit. It's just like, I mean, watch. Like, you can see my lips now. And another layer. Just gets a little shinier. Like, the color of my lips right now is the color that this is. This shit is fucking amazing, and I don't get it. It's a lip balm.
Mm-hmm.
It's super handy for a podcast because I don't have to fucking reapply anything. And I can still feel my lips. They aren't like plasticky and dry.
Also, can I just say, I fucking hate this flavor of Wild Basin. This is awful.
Oh, the lemon stuff.
The lemon hibiscus. It tastes so
I don't
bad.
like that one either.
That's why I've been so slow on these, because this flavor is awful.
Bonham Beef is still my favorite. I won't drink anything else.
White Claw for me.
Oh, God. If it has sugar in it, I can't drink it. It gives me a fucking migraine. However, my dumb ass, after pointing out that this tastes kind of like champagne, can't stand
There's
it.
sugar
I also
in it?
did not realize that
Found out there's sugar in it?
sugar in it. What I do know, though, is that it is 9.5% fucking... Oh, wrong side. Watch me drop this on my fucking laptop. Nope, I was on the right side. There is 9.5% alcohol in this.
Oh boy.
I realized why I felt like shit a couple hours ago. Because I was drinking this and I was just like, whatever, it's beer. Anyways, I'm on my second one.
So, should we move on to bests of the night now that we're finished with our matches and promos?
I would love to.
All right.
I'm having the time of my life tonight with this fucking podcast. Because you know what? I fucking miss doing it, dude. I have not missed... Mark has missed one episode since we started doing the podcast, and since we started watching together. I have not missed a single episode of wrestling since we started watching back in March.
Even when I missed that episode of the podcast, I didn't miss the wrestling because I tuned in my hotel room.
Right. Mark and I have not missed a single episode of wrestling in March was the third month of the year. It's
9
the
months.
12th month. So in 9 months, since a child has been born, literally, when you consider Becky Lynch, in the 9 months that we have been watching wrestling as a duo, if you will, we have not missed a single fucking episode. So Friday night was pain.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt a more gnawing sensation in my soul. It was like when you find out that like your friends are all doing something together and you're just sitting there like at home like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Fucking hurt. But again, it was SmackDown, so I didn't feel that awful. I still, like, when we were watching it, the stream buffered for a second, and my head exploded. I, like, went to go, like, refresh my phone just to make sure everything was working, and then my phone wasn't refreshing, and I was like, no! We're back to it again, aren't we? I'm, like, terrified of getting too excited.
And for those who are wondering, the reason we didn't have internet was because a manhole exploded on our block.
I'm still shocked. I feel like I would have heard it if it exploded on our block.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But then...
I don't understand how in the year of our Lord 2020, it takes 4 days to turn Wi-Fi back on. How is that possible?
I don't know.
What could it possibly... And it took out Wi-Fi, like, not just on our block. Like, through a lot of our neighborhood.
It's called Verizon Fios not giving a shit.
And when you consider the fact that where we live, there's basically just Fios and there's Spectrum. Not a lot of people have anything else. They don't really service anything else out here. So that was like, I told my coworkers, I was like, I don't have any service. Like, we didn't have cell service either because people were using hotspots. So we had no Wi-Fi, we had no cell service. I couldn't text anyone. I was trying to talk to my boss and tell him that I had no service. He didn't understand that. And then my one coworker was like, oh, well, you could talk to a neighbor and get their Wi-Fi, or you could go to a cafe or a restaurant. Mind you, we just had a fucking snowstorm. I'm not sitting outside anywhere in the 12-degree weather that exists right now. And he's like, well, you could go to a coworker's house. And I was like, there's a fucking pandemic! Y'all don't pay me enough to risk my fucking life like that. I'm sorry.
But anyways, back to wrestling.
It was traumatic. I'm a millennial. I need my internet.
So traumatic. Oh. You missed some work. Oh.
It just reminds me, rare moment, but it reminds me of this one meme from Kardashians where Kim loses her earring in the pool, and Courtney's like, "There are people dying." I needed that. I needed someone to scream that at me, and I couldn't text my mother because she'd be the one to fucking say that to me.
But anyway, best of the night. So, promo of the night. We had the kickoff, which I figure we shouldn't count in that. We had an interview with Paul Heyman where we don't really know what was said. We had Billie Kay and Asuka backstage, which instilled fear in us, but also took away that fear in the same 5 seconds that happened.
And we luckily also got a fun little Billie Kay promo, which I do enjoy watching her.
Yeah, Billie Kay is great in promos. Then we had an interview with A New Day where it was a little emotional, a little nice, but nothing really substantial. Then we had, finally, the promo with Big E, R-Truth, and Sami Zayn, which gave us a title match this coming Friday. And is kind of carrying a storyline without just throwing it into a match like most pay-per-views do. It was actually really nice. I really liked this promo, both on a performance level and just on a storytelling level. So that's my pick for promo of the night is Big E, R-Truth, and Sami Zayn.
I'm gonna just go with you because I didn't like a lot of the promos, or I didn't like a lot of the promos, but it's a pay-per-view night. There's rarely ever any like promos where I'm like, oh man, that was wild.
Yeah.
But I just for the fact that like R-Truth just fucking dipped out of there, I'll take it. My dude straight up was like, and I'm out. Thank you. I'll see y'all later.
Mm-hmm. But so this is probably the hardest pick of the night. The wrestler of the night. We started off with the 8-man tag match between Daniel Bryan, Otis, Chad Gable, Big E versus King Corbin, Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Sami Zayn. I picked Chad Gable for this because he looked fantastic, not gonna lie. And the fact that he was like, his character was really showing, and when he told Otis to not do the cat. Oh no, that was Friday. Never mind. Ignore what I just said. But Chad Gable just looked fantastic in the ring, better than anyone else. Cesaro was a close second. But what we saw from Cesaro was kind of paled in comparison to what we saw from Chad. I really hope we get something substantial from Chad in the coming months. Because he is a very talented wrestler, and I hope we get Kurt Angle Part 2 in him. But moving on to AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre. And although this wasn't a really amazing, this wasn't a really amazing TLC match, I enjoyed Drew, but in a different way from how we've been seeing Drew in the past. Drew was just better than AJ. I think everything AJ did, Drew just did better. Having to, I don't want to say deal with a messed up knee, but performing as if he had a messed up knee was, he just did a fantastic job with it. He sold it really well. And I think he really made the match look a lot less one-sided than it was. What's up?
I just say Drew McIntyre has had this fucked up knee since his ICW days. I need the man to get that shit checked. Whether it is in kayfabe or real life, I don't know. I need him to get it checked and dealt with. Because if I see another fucking Drew McIntyre going, just like I was the other day, with my damaged fucking little knee knobs. Oh, wow, okay. That's no way to live your life, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
You're so handsome. I wish you would Claymore kick me. Anyways.
But yeah, Drew in his own performance didn't look amazing, at least not as great as we've seen him in the past. His best performance today was in selling AJ and making AJ look a lot better than he normally would have. And same with The Miz. And it's the same thing that we praise Dolph for. Dolph is an incredible performer in that he makes his opponents look absolutely fantastic. But not the best individual performance from Drew today, but not to say he wasn't fantastic. Then we have Carmella versus Sasha Banks. I'd give this match to Carmella. I would have. She looked pretty good. She has some great locks, some great submission holds in her skill set. She looks a lot better than I expected her to. And I think this comparison all comes down to expectations. I normally expect Sasha to be on a higher level. She kind of underperformed today. I expected Carmella to be on a much lower level, but she overperformed those expectations. So I'll give that one to Carmella, but I don't think she really did any better than anyone else today. Then we had the Hurt Business versus the New Day, and I picked Xavier for this. But the only reason it's hard for me to pick him over anyone else in these matches is because that match, at least on the New Day side, was very focused on Kofi. And I'm not a huge fan of Kofi's wrestling in general. Not to say I hate it, but I don't think it's anything super impressive or wonderful to watch. I do enjoy Xavier's wrestling a lot more, and what we saw today I think was better than what we saw of Kofi. But if we're comparing the performances between matches, Xavier I think kind of underperformed everyone else. And then we had Nia and Shayna versus Asuka and Charlotte. My pick 100% Charlotte. She, holy fuck, blew me out of the goddamn water. She was amazing. The fact that she completely just sold being able to suplex Nia Jax just easily is enough for me to make her the pick of this match. She was absolutely fantastic, and this match proved how much I missed her so much. She's so goddamn impressive. There's not much I can say. I can't really form words as to how amazing her performance was, because her performance was just amazing in every single right. Whether she was selling moves, whether she was performing moves onto other wrestlers, she had it all, and she looked absolutely fantastic while doing it, especially when she had her first tag in, where she was just like, come on. It was wonderful and amazing, and probably the best performance we'll get from somebody's first day back. Then we had Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. And although Roman Reigns put on a hell of a performance, I gotta give this match to Kevin Owens just because he 100% exceeded expectations. And being able to perform like that in basically a handicap match, the dude deserves so much credit. I mean, he went through so much and gave us a hell of a lot more than we expected. Kevin Owens is so goddamn talented, and he didn't pull through that many like amazingly impressive moves, but I think overall what he did was a lot better than any wrestler we saw today.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had The Fiend versus Randy Orton. And it's hard for me to pick this one because it's basically a cinematic match because it's very production heavy. But if I were to pick one from this match, it would probably be The Fiend. Because, A, he was on fire. and B, having a mask on, it's not very easy to convey emotions and intentions through that, but Bray is so talented and he's such an amazing performer that all of that shows through his mask. He's amazing at conveying that stuff without showing any of it physically on his face. It's the same with Dexter Lumis, because although he doesn't wear a mask, he doesn't show that stuff on his face, so he has to convey it in other ways. And the Fiend doesn't, aka Bray, does an amazing job at it. So this is why it's so hard to pick someone today. I'm not going to give it to Chad. I'm not going to give it to Drew. Or Carmella or Xavier. I love all of those wrestlers individually. I'm not going to give it to the Fiend as well. For me, it is down between Charlotte Flair and Kevin Owens. It's tough, I know, but I think based on overall performance and carrying a match on their goddamn shoulders, I'm going to give it to Kevin Owens.
It hurts me because I did really want to give it to Charlotte. Because I don't think that I would give match of the night to that match by any means.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, man, Kevin Owens, dude.
I know.
For the Kevin Owens we've known, he's just growing into such a fucking well-rounded dude. He's a formidable opponent now. And like originally he was just a jackass.
Mm-hmm.
And that was great for him. He's become such a wrestler. To watch him against one of the biggest fucking names in the business right now, and to hold his own in such a way, fucking stunning.
Yeah, and not to mention he's such an amazing performer. Like, him on the mic, he's one of the best wrestlers on the mic. Whether it's on the KO show or delivering a promo, everything he says feels so natural and genuine. And he puts so much behind his character. He does such a good job at everything aside from wrestling. And not to say he's a bad wrestler, because he's anything but. But my God, does his mic performance far outweigh his wrestling performance. Now, shall we move on to match of the night?
I believe we should. Seems like the natural progression of things. Also, I was petting the cat, and she rubbed her face against me, and I just felt straight teeth. I was like, oh no. That's not how we pet each other.
Aww. But, okay, so match of the night. We start off with that 8-man tag match in the kickoff. I liked this match. I thought we saw a great display from everyone. But, you know, there wasn't a lot of substance to it. Not a lot in terms of storyline or even individual performance to really carry this above anything else. But still, it was a good match. I really enjoyed it. Then we had AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre. And if we're talking, say we're just talking exclusively TLC matches today, I think this was the worst of the bunch because of how they utilized the TLC aspect of the match.
I just don't think that Drew does well when, like, the ring was so crowded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Drew's style, which is basically like launching people places, I don't think it works so well when there's so many things in the fucking ring with him.
Right. He's also not a very, like, aggressive wrestler. Like, there's not a whole lot of passion behind every move he does, to the point where if he hits someone with a chair, it'll be like, I'm pissed off at you. It's like, especially when he's fighting someone like AJ. If he was fighting Randy, I feel like this would have been a lot better.
we've seen, I mean, Drew got angry for a minute in this match, but we've seen angry Drew, and that was with Brandy, and that was a scary fucking version of Drew.
Yeah.
And that's when we were kind of like, is that the Scottish psychopath, or are we just crazy?
Right. But I feel like at his this match should not have been a TLC match. I would have really enjoyed watching Drew and AJ in just a regular old wrestling match. And I think The Miz cashing in where he did was the absolute wrong place for him to. And kind of ruin the match in my eyes, because it wouldn't have fit his character at all to have cashed in and made it a 3-man tag match, because his whole time when he's had the briefcase, he hasn't been talking about that. He hasn't been bragging about that. He's been talking about cashing it in after a match is over.
It just made the entire men's Money in the Bank thing worthless.
Yeah.
It came to nothing. And, like, I'm not just saying that because, like, he didn't get anything out of it. Like, I'm saying that because, like, he didn't get anything out of it. And on top of that, it wasn't even, like, a big moment, really. It was just like, oh, there's The Miz.
Yeah.
Here he goes. I didn't even expect them to actually ring the bell or to, like, say, okay, it's cashed in at that point. Now it's like, okay, well, The Miz has nothing. What is he supposed to be fucking doing?
Yeah.
The only thing I can see happening now is AJ being like, hey, you shouldn't have done that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's so annoying, and regarding Money in the Bank, nobody got over because of that. Otis didn't go anywhere because of it. The only thing that happened as a result of Money in the Bank was Seth and Ray started having a feud. Everyone else just went to shit. They either stayed in the same place or were buried. But going back to AJ and Drew, I think The Miz cashing in where he did kind of ruined it, and I think the TLC match aspect of it was unnecessary. I think they just did it because seeing AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre in a TLC match would get a lot of views. But the match itself, eh. Then we had Carmella versus Sasha Banks. I know how you feel about it. You hated this match. I thought this match was just okay. I thought this was the worst one we saw today, but if we saw this on a regular episode, we would have thought it was pretty good. The individual performance was pretty good. Carmella was better than normal. Sasha, less so, but the Somali pirate didn't add anything to the match. He kind of lessened it in my eyes.
Yeah, stop saying that. We're gonna get ourselves fucking canceled.
That's why I always follow it up with, I'm not being racist. They just say Somalia.
I'm not racist, but
but yeah, no, this match was kind of a dud compared to the rest.
Yeah, when we had, I got nervous here for a minute because this was a good pay-per-view. And I was worried that maybe it would make my opinion of our current pick for the Mike Romies for best pay-per-view. I was afraid it was going to make me falter a little bit on that. But because there were a couple matches where I was just like, nothing really shined here, I don't feel so worried anymore.
If we're talking about pay-per-views and their WWE title scene aspect of it, this is probably at the bottom, close to Hell in a Cell. Because Hell in a Cell transferred it to Randy, which ultimately did nothing. It gave Drew back the title in front of a fake audience. But going back to the next match, we have the Hurt Business versus the New Day, which, God, all of their past matches have been so amazing. This one kind of lacked a little bit. It lacked a little oomph, which would have, I feel like this was too short. You know? At least looking back, I feel like this was really missing something. I can't exactly pinpoint what it was, but I didn't love this match as much as I would have or should have. You know?
Yeah. I think it's just because we've had a lot of matches with them already where like the New Day and the Hurt Business looked really fucking good. And tonight it was just like there was something missing.
Yeah. And I think that was a bigger presence from Xavier. And I feel like the ending kind of doesn't really take us anywhere because I know the betrayal or the kind of tag in from Cedric kind of, I know that won't take us anywhere, and having the New Day no longer the tag team champions will kind of bury them a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's just future stuff. As far as the match goes, it feels like there's something missing, and I can't really tell what it is.
Can I say something that might be horrible?
Yeah.
No, I know that like title drops and stuff like that are usually decisions made well in advance.
Mm-hmm.
At least things that are kind of like, it's not like you get out there and you're like, oh fuck, I'm losing the title like right now. Okay. I just there's a part of me that wonders if maybe they were holding that title for so long that like when they realize tonight's the night they're losing it, I wonder if they just didn't come out with like the pomp and circumstance they normally do. Because usually they come out like asses on fire, like they're about to fucking rule the goddamn world. I felt like they lost halfway through the match.
Right.
You know? I hate to say that because I don't want to like act like maybe they're just bad sports about it. But I just, especially with Kofi, dude, it kind of just felt like he was like, well.
They were on, and Kofi literally said this, they were on fire in the first like 5 minutes, and then that jinxed the whole thing, and then they just fell through, kind of giving us the obvious flow that WWE gives us. Also, I really need to pee. Yeah. After that we talk about this match, would you be able to riff for 5 seconds?
We're almost done. You hold that.
I have been holding it for the past 15 minutes.
Already, what is up with your bladder? Go pee now.
Okay.
Lord. You see, this is the difference between men and women. Women have to wait outside of a bathroom for like 4 fucking hours before we can go pee. We learn how to hold that shit. And that's why a lot of women get kidney infections. However, that's not the point. The point is, men, no offense, y'all have it fucking easy. Y'all don't know how to hold your piss. Me here, I had to pee like a fucking racehorse right now. You know why? Because I've had a lot to drink. And look at me. I'm vibing. I'm gonna drink more. I know the end is near. The end is nigh. That sounds actually kind of shitty. Well, technically, actually, according to astrology, which all of you know by now, if you've watched this enough, I'm pretty into. According to astrology, after the 21st, the world is supposed to be a different place. I don't know what that means. As a Gemini and as a neurotic son of a bitch, you'd think that would excite me. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. In fact, it stresses me out kind of. I don't really want a new place. I'm happy in this shitty place that we're in right now. The new place is good. The new place isn't bad. But it sucks. I didn't even get to wish y'all a happy fucking end of Hanukkah. I literally spent like 5 hours yesterday just watching this guy play fucking Cyberpunk. I had nothing else going on. That's pathetic. Here it comes, Miss America. Man of the hour. Hobo Pete can fucking hold his piss. Embarrassed.
What's up?
I was just saying that like men only ever have to wait in line for a bathroom for like 5 seconds. I don't know how to hold your pee.
Did you say a quarter of an hour or a fourth of an hour before?
No.
Okay, I thought that's what I heard when I was leaving the room, and I was like, that is 15 minutes. Like I said, I was waiting.
No, I genuinely, like, I've heard so many men complain, like, if you ever tell men to hold their pee, they're like, but my kidneys, they're gonna break. And it's like, y'all have the luxury of dashing in and out of the bathroom whenever you want, of pissing at any goddamn juncture you want. You guys can pull a car over and go pee, which, frankly, women can do too. However, it is not convenient in any way, shape, or form. Y'all don't understand what it is like to truly hold your pee.
You just want to keep complaining?
I have been in situations where I was worried if I stood up, it would just squeeze all the pee out. I lived to tell the fucking tale. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
No. If you want to continue, go right ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Alright, so after that, we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and Charlotte Flair. I didn't expect this match to be as great as it was. As soon as Lana was like announced to be a part of it, I was like, okay, this match is going to be like nothing. Nothing. At all. And then it happened. Not even when Charlotte Flair was announced to be in it. When she was announced to be in it, I was like, okay, whatever. It's a big name attached to a mediocre match, whatever. Then it happened, and it became a goddamn banger. This match was fantastic. It was great. You had Nia and Shayna both performing like they should have been, and Asuka and Charlotte, Asuka, first of all, performing better than she has been in months. And Charlotte giving us one of the best return matches we've seen in a long time. This match was fantastic, and it wasn't even a goddamn TLC match or anything. It was just a hardcore wrestling match. It was great. I loved it. It was fantastic. Does make me wonder, like, where it's going from here. Like, is Charlotte going to be in a tag team from now on? Is Asuka just going to forget Kairi and be in a different tag team? Is Lana kind of just going to go on her merry way? Are Shayna and Nia going to split up or stick together as a tag team? Who knows? But, I mean, the match itself was still fantastic. You can't discredit that. But, moving on to Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. The best TLC match that we got today. This was fantastic. And not because of the wrestling itself, because of the storytelling, because of the struggle Kevin Owens went through. I didn't even pick Kevin Owens, and I thought he was fantastic. I was rooting for them the whole time. And then right at the end, I was like, wait, I picked Roman. But God, this was so fantastic. I never imagined that a match would be so evenly matched as well as this one. I didn't think that Kevin would have as much of a shot as I thought he would. It was so fantastic. God, just like the way that Roman retained too just helps carry the storyline even further. And Jay getting put on his ass by Kevin. Everything about this match helped carry the storyline even further. It was so good. And then, last but not least, we have the Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. And this is the hardest one to judge just because of how different it is. It was a very cinematic, but also not cinematic match that gave us the Fiend on fire and Randy RKOing the Fiend while he's on fire and then lighting the Fiend on fire again. It was ridiculous in the best ways and amazing. I really enjoyed this match, and where this takes us, I think it puts us in a better spot than any other match that we had today, because I anticipate the future of this storyline more than any of the other storylines, just because of the mystery. And just like, I know you're giving me that look that I hate that you give me, but like, either this is gonna be the Fiend comes back as like an even worse Fiend, or because we know the Randy Bray storyline is not over. It's not. The Fiend is gonna come back in some other form that's gonna be much different, and then how Alexa returns back into the storyline will be really interesting. And that mostly is assisted by the fact that the whole Bray Wyatt storyline has been so strong from the get-go. But I really like where this might take us. I don't like the fact that they're kind of pitting Bray in a face role. I don't like that. He's a tried and true heel.
And I mean, to be fair, Randy was taken in, brainwashed, came to realize, oh fuck, Wyatt family equals bad shit, and then destroyed their asses. And Randy's the bad guy?
Yeah. I don't know.
Doesn't make sense.
The way that they're forcing this crowd to act is very dumb. But as far as the match goes, I thought the whole fire aspect was hella entertaining. Probably the best Inferno match we ever got. I really liked it. I liked how they mixed it up every time, and it wasn't just the same thing every time. And contrary to what you say, I think this match was like the perfect length, because we got a tool being lit on fire. We got a trail being lit on fire. We got a person being lit on. There wasn't any repeats. There wasn't any filler. It was very concise and felt very satisfying in how it ended. Although it ended with Randy literally committing murder.
Can you just break my heart now, please?
I mean, my pick for match of the night is Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens.
Why did you spend 20 minutes talking about how much you love the Bray and Randy fight then?
Because, okay, I did really love that match, but I think it paled in comparison to the Kevin Owens Roman match in terms of storytelling. But I wanted to talk about the Fiend Randy match just because I knew you didn't like it very much, and I thought...
I didn't dislike it. I really didn't dislike it. I understood why it had to be the main event. I don't like things that are obligatory main events, like when like the state, like or the ring collapses.
Right.
Like that doesn't make a main event.
But it has to be there.
Right. No, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think this would have been better as a cinematic, because we could have gotten a longer, more there would have been more things to do. The same way that like there's more for you to do when you walk outside your front door versus when you're sitting inside your room all day. But it's not that I didn't like it. I did really like this match. I just think that there were some things that like I think there was so much potential in this match that it did feel a little short for what we could have gotten. I liked what we got. I wanted more, which is a good sign of a match, I guess.
I think I understand what you're talking about, but I think you're thinking of like kind of a storyline wrap-up match, similar to the swamp fight.
Which this is essentially if Bray's whole thing right now, because based on his tweet, it seems like we might not see him for a couple minutes. So ultimately, I have to assume that this is the wrapped up storyline.
I don't think so. I think this is kind of the middle point. We'll probably see Alexa
I just don't know.
tomorrow.
Just because he's saying that, like, as far as that tweet is concerned, he's saying he is in a chrysalis, which it takes a couple days to fucking break out of. I don't think that we're going to tune in tomorrow night and get brand new fucking Bray Wyatt or Fiend. I mean, maybe we will get Bray Wyatt. Maybe this will be a Bray Wyatt Randy thing now until Fiend is back. But I just don't know.
I think this is going to be a just kidding, asshole. I am still alive and that didn't hurt me in the slightest.
It would be cool.
Mm.
I don't know what my face just looked like there, but I caught a glimpse of it in slow-mo, and I didn't like that at all. What would be cool is that, like, Randy continues doing whatever Randy shit he wants to do in the next few weeks or so. And then as he's, like, continuing to do these fucking things, there's, like, little, like, traces of Bray Wyatt, like, still around him. Like, I don't know, he sees something that, like, looks like Bray, or he sees, like, one of the fucking puppets out of the corner of his eye or something. That would be cool, so that Bray's still, like, I'm still fucking here. But, like, not here.
Or Alexa, like, continues to haunt him. Something like that.
Fucking haunts me, so. Still not okay with the fact that she's a little now, but, like, at the same time, I'm like, oh, you're so cute. God damn it. I don't want to go to jail, and yet I feel like I should.
But yeah, no, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens is my pick for match of the night.
Okay, so when it sounded like you were going down the Randy Bray path, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, like, it wasn't a bad match, but that's not my favorite one. I made a comment to you, I think, I don't even remember when. I think it was, like, right before this match happened. Where I said, like, they fucked Roman over. In my head at the time, they fucked Roman over because the Roman Jay fight, especially at Hell in a Cell, was so good. It hurt me so bad. And I said, they're never going to reach that caliber again. And then I watched this shit and I was like, I mean, it doesn't upset, like, it didn't hurt me the same way that, like, that did. But, like, oh, this match, like, had me on the fucking edge of my goddamn seat, and that is not an easy thing to come by sometimes with WWE pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, NXT aside, because War Games, I think I was on the edge of my seat the entire fucking time. This match, I was sitting there and I was like, I genuinely, like, I thought I knew where this was fucking going. I thought I knew who was going to win. And I thought it was going to be kind of a stomp. There were several moments where I was like, I have no fucking clue what's supposed to happen here now. Kevin got to the top of that ladder and I said, I shouldn't be right.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to be right.
Yeah.
But that was a fucking match and a half. I mean, that was usually, like, when it comes to pay-per-views, because they happen once a month and my WWE Network bill happens once a month.
Once or twice.
I'm like, main roster pay-per-views happen once a month. And unless it's Payback, and that does not count because Payback was a fucking... Payback is a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
But that was... I usually like to be like, okay, was that worth $9.99? That was worth $9.99. That fucking match alone, that paid my fucking month. I'm good. Speaking of, I probably should figure out when I've got to pay that Discover card bill, but that was 100% worth every penny that I put into their fucking haywire goddamn system. And I'm glad we got to see it because it's not often that we see somebody who we wouldn't expect to be in the position of fighting Roman Reigns. It's not often that we get to see that, and to see it be convincing. I was pleased as punch.
I have a little interesting tidbit for you.
Give me a tidbit, please.
Tonight was actually a historic loss. Tonight when Hurt Business beat New Day to become Raw Tag Team Champions, it marked the first time ever the combination of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods lost a tag team championship defense. The Kofi Xavier combination has actually won 4 of New Day's 10 reigns, number 3, number 5, number 9, and number 10. However, as both number 3 and number 5 ended with Big E taking the pin, and number 9 ended in the title swap with Street Profits. Woods and Kingston had never suffered a loss before.
Owie.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, it's storytelling, okay? We're still gonna be friends.
I know. It's a still pretty big thing for
People have to lose, and I mean, that was proven with the fucking Undertaker, as heartbreaking as that was.
Yeah.
People have to lose.
Who do you lose that to? Brock?
It's better.
Who do you lose his streak to? The Brock?
I
think it was Brock.
I think it was Brock too. Who broke Undertaker's streak? Let's see. Brock. It was fucking horrible too, because like there were signs outside of the stadium that said 22-0 that were just like left there.
Oh, that's rough.
That hurts right in the inside heart bones.
All right, so to run it back now that we've hit the 3-hour mark, our promo of the night, Sami Zayn calls out Big E. Wrestler of the night, Kevin Owens. Match of the night, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Kind of shocking that we picked Kevin Owens for Wrestler of the Night, despite there being the likes of Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Randy Orton, The Fiend in this pay-per-view, and we went with Kevin Owens. That just goes to show how amazing he was tonight.
I was really happy with him. I'm more than happy with how this pay-per-view turned out.
Yeah.
And there were a couple duds in the bunch, I think. It was not a golden pay-per-view by any means. That's pretty much only something NXT can achieve. But
I disagree. I think, what was it? I think SummerSlam was a golden one. Royal Rumble, I know, was golden.
Royal Rumble still sits just a couple tiers lower than golden for me. I still am not fond of the fucking opening fight with fucking Roman and the Usos fighting whoever the fight, Corbin, I think. That was a tiring little thing.
Oh wait, Payback?
No, Payback was shit.
Why was Payback shit?
I don't know, I just remember it being horrible, and I can't remember if that was because we did. What was it? There was SummerSlam, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, Payback, Raw, NXT, SmackDown. So that was 8 podcasts in 14 days. I think maybe I just hated Payback out of spite at that point.
Well, okay, so at Payback, we had Riot Squad versus Iconics in the pre-show. We had the fantastic Bayley and Sasha versus Shayna and Nia to give Shayna and Nia the tag team titles. We had Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley I think that was to give Bobby. Yeah, that gave Bobby the United States Championship. We had Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns.
Okay, so hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Bray versus Braun versus Rowe. Trash.
Right.
It was a horrible match.
I don't think that was. I think that perfectly showed off who Roman would become later on.
In retrospect, great enough. But in the moment, which is what really fucking counts, I think, because in retrospect, anything can be, a gold filter can be put on anything. Nostalgia's a bitch. But that wasn't that good of a match. Then on top, because that also, you have to remember, that signifies just the fucking dismantling of the Braun and Bray fucking storyline. Then on top of that, the Apollo Bobby fucking fight was like number 40. We watched so many Bobby Apollo fights. I was at the end of my fucking chain on that one.
That I think that was the last one, because that's when Bobby won it, and it was over. But we also had Big E versus Sheamus. Was that the one where Sheamus white noised him into the car? Or was that before?
I think that was on a SmackDown episode.
Okay. We also had Matt Riddle versus King Corbin.
Yeah, that was only good because of the fucking promos that Corbin did beforehand. The Sheamus and Big E thing wasn't good because I thought we were going to get something out of that and we got nothing. We just kind of got filler. That was just a fight that was something that they strung along for literally no reason. We got nothing out of it in the end.
We also had Keith Lee versus Randy Orton.
Okay, sure.
And Dominic and Ray versus Seth and Murphy, which I do remember being a great match. Because that was Dominic's second appearance.
That was I think that was one of our fight of the nights or something like that.
Yeah.
Payback was not good. SummerSlam was pretty good. Especially with Drew winning his fight with a backslide.
Mm-hmm.
But
SummerSlam was fantastic.
Yeah.
We started off in the pre-show with Apollo versus MVP. That was the last time we saw those two fight.
Mm-hmm.
We had Bayley defeating Asuka. And Asuka would later defeat Sasha when we were shocked that she had two matches that night. We had the Street Profits beat Andrade and Angel for the last time. Yeah.
Also, the Bayley Asuka thing signified like the beginning of the end with Bayley and Sasha.
Exactly. Then we had Mandy versus Sonya, where Sonya had to quit WWE because she lost that.
Yeah, because she lost that, sure.
In terms of the WWE Universe, that's why she left. We had Seth versus Dominic in Dominic's first match, his debut, which was that match was amazing. Yeah.
What if we get Sonya back at Royal Rumble?
We could. We very well could, and that's what a lot of people are. A lot of people are suspecting she's gonna win Royal Rumble.
I'm just gonna put this out there. I know it's technically up to the Florida legal system at this point. If she comes back at Royal Rumble, I mean, physically, I'm very attracted to Charlotte Flair, sure. No doubt. I will not pop harder for any woman in the main roster, besides Becky Lynch, than Sonya. Because if Sonya comes back, that is my dark-haired, badass bitch. My representation. You can't see it because of all the blonde in my hair right now, but these roots don't lie. I want Sonya back so bad. I hate the blondes except for Charlotte.
Somebody posted a percent infographic of what everyone thinks, or who everyone thinks will win Royal Rumble in both departments. I'm trying to find that again, but I'm having trouble finding it. I will continue looking for it.
Because, like, Sonya coming back will be two things for me. One, that's my badass bitch who just fucking got stalked and almost, like, murdered. Coming back and being like, I'm still a badass bitch. Redemption arc, and not redemption arc, that's the wrong word. Just, like, comeback story, for sure. But on top of that, this is, like, such a low thing for me, and I know that. But there are so many blondes that get over, like, light blondes too. There's so many blondes that get over in the fucking WWE. And it's like, for what? Charlotte's one of the only blonde women in WWE main roster where I sit back and I'm like, I get it. I do. people like Shayna are put out there like, people like Shayna and Bayley are put out there like these brutes who are either backstabbing or just fucking psychopaths. Sonya, admittedly, is still a complete asshole as far as like her character. But like, she's at least allowed to be, one, gay without it being exploited, and I like that. And two, she's hot. She's a dark-haired, hot bitch who knows how to fucking wrestle. My dark-haired ass would goddamn lose it. This bitch and I, dark-haired bitches gotta stick together.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm just in love with her. I really want her to come back. And I understand that like there's a lot of things that are both in the real world legally and like probably emotionally standing in the way of those things. But like if she comes back, I'm going to be so happy for so many reasons. I will probably cry. So, right. Just saying.
So I'll give both of the 2 top predictions for both the men's and women's. So for men's, we have 2 for the number 1 spot, and that's Big E or Edge. In the number 2 spot, we've got either Keith Lee or Brock Lesnar. Now in the women's, it's 2. We've got either Rhea Ripley or Ronda Rousey, with Shayna Baszler right behind.
None of those are Sonya, therefore.
Sonya.
Rhea, I do care.
Sonya's down below Mandy.
That's gonna be one of those things that's very much like day by day, where like we'll get a notification one day. I'll probably do like one piece in the news that's like Sonya's done with her legal case, and then the wait for her to come back starts. In the same way that like Becky had her kid, and now like the wait for her to come back starts as well.
Yeah.
So until we get the news that Sonya's a little fucking creep, God fucking help his soul. Until we get news that he's been locked up as he fucking should be, so help me God, I'll murder his ass. Until we get news that he's in jail, I don't think that we can have any hope that she'll be back by Royal Rumble. However, it would be very cool if she was.
But we will leave that for 2021. Now we finish our last pay-per-view of 2020. Liz, would you like to wrap us out?
I would. All right, I'll save the sappy shit for NXT on the 30th. Because you know what's fucking crazy? I know that we're still about 6 months away from our 1 year. The fact that we're basically at our half year and we're nearly at our 100th show at this point is fucking impressive. Mm-hmm. Virtual handshake for sticking out this whole fucking time. But we'll get there when we get there. But thank you so much for anybody who tuned in. Thank you so much to anybody who tunes in the future. Merry Christmas, I guess. We're 4 days away.
Let's save that for NXT.
No, I'm saying if you're watching in the future.
Yeah.
Take to count out a couple days. And we're 4 days away as of this coming Monday. This current Monday. It's 1 a.m. though. It doesn't count. About 4 days away from Christmas, so if you're watching this in the future, Merry Christmas, if that's what your fucking jam is. Hope that you get every gift that you want. And if the gift that you want is a podcast in less than 24 hours, then by golly, by gosh, you're going to be fucking happy, because we will be back Monday at about 11 o'clock at night. Give you all exactly what you fucking want. A very Merry Christmas. And now I sit here for a whole fucking second and I say, oh, Marcus, we fucked up.
What's What? What do we do?
We scheduled British Christmas and we scheduled the fucking Secret Santa on the 23rd.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. We'll take that offline, as my boss likes to say. Anyway. So yes, please join us tomorrow night. We will be back with fucking goddamn Monday Night Raw because we can't fucking avoid it apparently. Unless Verizon says otherwise, because Verizon is trying to cancel us, it seems, and well, that's on them. So yes, thank you so much for joining in, and hopefully we will see you guys soon. Mark, take it away.
Yeah, if you enjoyed, please hit that follow button down below. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. They both do the same thing at the end of the day. But if you watch on Twitch, you will know whenever we go live, or you'll be able to watch us live, chat with us live. It's a great time for all. And follow us on Twitter, twitter.com, at Pinfall Podcast. I always forget it. At Pinfall Podcast. Follow our personal Twitters. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. Check out.
Thank you again to Impact Cell Podcast, by the way, for giving us our fucking handle. It was very nice of you. We will never forget it. Tune into them if you watch Impact, because I'm sure that he does a great job too.
And don't forget to check out the Universal Pokemon Federation on YouTube. We've got a big title match coming up very soon. So you won't want to miss it. It's WWE combined with Pokemon. Super cool stuff. If you're into either of those, definitely check it out. Universal Pokemon Federation. And check out my personal Twitch, twitch.tv/Mark Cameron. MARC Cameron. Alright, and we'll see you on tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you then.